She has quite a bit of confidence in her own looks and figure. Xiao Tian sighs and puts on an "I'm so handsome, what can I do?" expression. What you're saying does make some sense. Excellence is hard to hide. Seeing his reaction, Zi Xinlian secretly rejoices, thinking she's got Xiao Tian hooked. Serving as a concubine to such a powerful man like Xiao Tian wouldn't be too bad. As she thinks this, she licks her lips. At this moment, Xiao Tian leans in closer and slowly asks, "I do have something I want to ask you. Your surname is the same as Zi Ruoyan's. What exactly is your background?" Zi Xinlian lowers her head and smiles, seemingly somewhat helpless. "I'm from the Zi family and a descendant of the human emperor. I suppose you could say I'm family with Zi Ruoyan." Xiao Tian stares intently at her, asking again, "If that's the case, what brings you to this southern wilderness realm?" Upon hearing this, Zi Xinlian hesitates. She isn't sure whether to make up an excuse, especially since her relationship with Zi Ruoyan's mother is not good. Seeing her hesitation, Xiao Tian steps even closer, staring at her intently. "Now tell the truth. It has to be said." Xiao Tian at this moment instantly charms his way into Zi Xinlian's heart. Her emotions are in turmoil, but she keeps reminding herself, No, I can't be infatuated." Since lying won't work, she decides to speak frankly, hoping to win his favor. "I refuse to believe I can't charm him." Thinking of this, Zi Xinlian slightly parts her red lips, softly breathing as she lightly lifts her skirt, putting on a shy and adorable look. "Mr. Xiao, this mistress will tell you everything." At this moment, Zi Xinlian is extremely confident. How could she not bewitch him with such a lure? Originally, the Zi family, where Zi Xinlian is from, had a good relationship with Zi Ruoyan's mother's Shui family. Zi Xinlian also had a good relationship with Zi Ruoyan's mother. So, she was asked to come to the southern wilderness realm to look after Zi Ruoyan. But who could have thought, the moment Zi Xinlian arrived, she discovered Eastern Gaoxian and Zhou Tianji's conspiracy. Learning about the heavenly furnace and the holy dragon relic, she couldn't contain her greed and took the lead in this scheme. As she speaks, Zi Xinlian suddenly covers her face and bursts into tears. "It's all my fault." Seeing this, Xiao Tian remains unmoved. A glimmer of wisdom flashing in his eyes as he mutters, "So that's how it is. Turns out you're my mother-in-law's good friend. Now I ask you, how are my in-laws doing? Why didn't they come themselves?" Hearing this, Zi Xinlian sighs softly. As it turns out, Zi Ruoyan's mother, Shui Rian, and her family have a low status within the Shui family. If it weren't for the esteemed Purple Emperor awakening the true bloodline of the human race, they would still be exiled in the southern wilderness realm. And her children, due to innate defects, are not allowed to be brought back. Upon hearing this, Xiao Tian becomes curious. "Innate defects?" Zi Xinlian nods slightly. "Yes. This barren realm has incomplete rules, and living beings cannot sense the rules of heaven and earth. Shui Rian had no way to oppose the head of the Shui family, and thus she asked for my help." Hearing this, Xiao Tian finally has an epiphany. No wonder Zhongling and the others have such poor foundations. They were born in the southern wilderness realm, and cannot sense the rules of heaven and earth, lacking innately. Also, Zi Ruoyan's two older brothers couldn't awaken their bloodlines either. Wait, he suddenly thinks. How did Zi Ruoyan awaken hers? Well, we'll take it one step at a time. Xiao Tian puts away his puzzled expression. Looking at Zi Xinlian with a cold face, your willingness to confess the whole story shows that you have come to a clear understanding of your mistakes. Hearing Xiao Tian say this, Zi Xinlian's originally worried face turns excited. She thought she was finally off the hook for death. However, Xiao Tian continues. "Then, you can go ahead and end yourself now." Zi Xinlian's expression freezes in an instant, feeling as if she's been struck by lightning, her mind completely shutting down. After a long hesitation, she carefully asks Xiao Tian, "Mr. Xiao, are you joking with this mistress?" Xiao Tian coldly shakes his head, his tone still firm. "I'm not joking," Zi Xinlian quickly promises. "Mr. Xiao, this mistress can serve you tea, pour you water, and serve you well." "Enough." Zi Xinlian is abruptly interrupted by Xiao Tian. He points at Zi Xinlian somewhat angrily. "Just now, I sacrificed my attractiveness, and purposely faced you at a flattering angle, which should have pleased you. And now, you're actually still talking like this. You're such a greedy woman," stunned and speechless. She really wants to ask, "What do you mean I'm greedy, and you sacrificed your attractiveness? Did you get it backward?" Xiao Tian pays no attention to her astonishment, only offering some disappointed explanation. "My mother-in-law initially trusted you and asked for your help, but you became greedy, leading to the death of my two uncles. Now all I'm asking is for you to end yourself as an apology, and yet you're still trying to push it further. What has the world come to?" People are malicious. Morals have decayed. Oppression is everywhere. Schemes are everywhere. Xi Xinlian is left speechless, wanting to say something, but not knowing how to begin. She can only silently comfort herself. Don't get angry. Don't ruin your own health. Just then, Xiaoyu suddenly points at her and speaks. Dad, she probably has even more malicious intentions. Xiao Tian turns to look at Xiaoyu. With a serious expression he asks, What do you mean? Dad, think about it. She's been intentionally trying to seduce you since earlier, wanting to stay by your side. Her behavior is quite promiscuous. If our mothers found out, wouldn't they get jealous? And then, when both of our mothers give you a headache with their bickering, she would use her gentleness to trap you. How would you explain this to grandmother then? This is clearly her premeditated revenge. Xiaoyu speaks with a worried look on his face, while Xiao Tian gasps in astonishment, feeling a sense of fear. No wonder they say women are as unfathomable as the ocean's depths. Only a woman can truly understand another woman. Xiao Tian sharply looks at Xi Xinlian, pointing at her and indignantly shouting, Moreover, my daughter is not even a full-fledged woman. She's like 1/6 of a woman. So, one can only imagine your true intentions, which are probably even more terrifying. It seems you cannot be spared. As he says this, Xiao Tian's eyes turn cold. He raises his hand ready to slap her. Xi Xinlian's face is filled with disbelief and resentment. Can both of you get any more ridiculous? I'm just trying to save my own life. Who taught you to have such wild imaginations? If someone said you two aren't actually father and daughter, I wouldn't believe it even if I were a ghost. Unbelievably, Xi Xinlian refuses to accept her fate quietly. She uses spatial magic to obscure her figure, and hides within the folds of space. System Puppy quickly informs Xiao Tian, Master, Xi Xinlian is now hiding in a spatial layer. I've locked onto her for you. She can't escape. Following Puppy's guidance, Xiao Tian soon locates Xi Xinlian's position. His attack automatically locks onto her. Then, Xiao Tian smiles slightly. Today, I'll play the role of a good person one more time. I'll give you a chance to repent and be reborn. Go reincarnate in peace. As he says this, Xiao Tian increases the power of his palm strike, aiming it towards the locked-on position, within the space where Xi Xinlian is hiding. The layers explode one after the other. Finally, after a scream, Xi Xinlian is completely eradicated. Xiaoyu makes a face at her. Evil woman, serves you right. Beside him, Long Qiu Dao suddenly recalls his own corpse heart demon. Before it died, it probably felt as frustrated as Xi Xinlian, right? Lord Xiao truly is terrifying. Now, the only ones remaining on the scene are the trembling Yuanba, Zhou Tianji, and Eastern Gao Xian. Xiao Tian turns his head to look. Yuanba immediately asks, Is the upper limit of us body cultivators really this powerful? Or are you just a special case? Xiao Tian sizes him up for a moment, then suddenly smiles. I have a way for you to break your own limits. To reach even higher goals. To become 1,000 times more powerful than you are now. Yuanba is so excited that he's somewhat at a loss for words. Really? Is it really possible? Can you let me see it? Even if I die right after, it's okay. Xiao Tian shakes his head, very seriously tells him, No. You can't. At this, Yuanba becomes frantic. This is his life's obsession. He looks disheartened at Xiao Tian. Why? I just want to see the future of us body cultivators before I die. Xiao Tian, with a trace of anger on his face, retorts, What does the future of body cultivators have to do with you? You're not a body cultivator. You're just a bully who preys on the weak. You've been helping Eastern Gao Xian and Zhou Tianji to oppress the weak. All under the guise of breaking through the limits of the world. What kind of body cultivator are you? Xiao Tian's words hit Yuanba like a hammer, striking deep into his heart. Gritting his teeth, he trembles a bit. I, too, am working towards the future of body cultivators. No matter how hard I try, I can't break that limit. Saying this, he suddenly becomes emotional, tearing off his outer garment, pointing at his wounds and shouting, Body cultivators need to keep breaking their own limits. You, who came from a higher realm, probably have no idea what I've been through to achieve breakthroughs. Suddenly, Yuanba's words come to an abrupt halt. Beside him, Xiaoyu covers her mouth with her hands, eyes widening. Unable to hold back her sympathetic cry. Daddy? It's as if Yuanba's words are choked off. Behind him, Eastern Gao Xian and Zhou Tianji also inhale sharply. Before them, Xiao Tian has already taken off his upper garment, revealing a muscular chest. Only it's covered with countless scars, looking incredibly gruesome. Xiao Tian looks at Yuanba, his face calm and indifferent. You always say, this is the fate of body cultivators. But when faced with difficulties, you didn't rise to the challenge, but chose to flee. You gave up the possibility of advancing, reaching out to oppress the powerless commoners instead. That's the behavior of a coward. Saying this, Xiao Tian puts his clothes back on and continues, I know a young girl. Even though she lost both parents, and had her arm chopped off, and was forced to beg, she never lost hope in life. And you're not even as good as that little girl. Yuanba remains silent for a long time, finally smiling as he sheds 2 lines of tears, muttering as he shakes his head uncontrollably, you're right. I'm not worthy. Saying this, Yuanba suddenly lifts his hand. A frightening power gathers in his palm. The next second, he smashes his fist into his own chest, crushing his own heart. He chooses to atone with his death. Xiao Tian looks at the lifeless Yuanba, lying on the ground, silent for a long while. In some ways, he's very much like me, someone committed to martial arts. After a long pause, Xiao Tian exhales slowly, turns to look at Eastern Gao Xian and Zhou Tianji, a signature smile appearing on his face. Why the long faces? Lighten up. After all, I'm not a bad guy. You don't have to be so scared. Zhou Tianji and Eastern Gao Xian can't stop trembling, their faces dripping with cold sweat. Hearing Xiao Tian's words, they can only muster a smile uglier than crying, muttering to themselves, yes, you're a good person, just haven't seen a good person as terrifying as you. Xiao Tian chuckles as he wraps his arms around their shoulders. You don't have to be so tense. The main culprit, Shi Xinlian, has already been brought to justice. You guys are at best accomplices. Heaven is merciful. So I've decided to give you both a valuable opportunity. Zhou Tianji and Eastern Gao Xian exchange glances, forcing another ugly smile. Is this guy really that kind-hearted? Well, let's see. He is called the Supreme Benevolent Sugar Baby Deity. After all. Zhou Tianji, with a glimmer of hope, carefully asks, Lord Xiao, do you think we still have a chance? Xiao Tian smiles and casually explains, anyone can have a chance to turn over a new leaf, especially the 2 of you. After all, what Shi Xinlian wanted was the Holy Dragon Relic, while you 2 wanted to plunder the national fate and exploit the common people. With such grave mistakes, how can you not try to gain everyone's forgiveness? Hearing this, both men suddenly feel that something doesn't quite add up. Cold sweat breaks out on their foreheads. This doesn't sound good. What does he mean by gain everyone's forgiveness? Xiao Tian ignores their thoughts, suddenly turning to ask Long Qiu Dao, is there a good way to make them unable to resist? Long Qiu Dao quickly nods yes. His expression is very serious, even lacking any sycophancy. But as his words fall, a golden rope appears in his hand. This is binding rope. With a wave of Long Qiu Dao's hand, the golden rope flies out like a coiling snake. Before they can react, they're enveloped and bound by the binding rope. Immediately, Xiao Tian quickly points his finger, landing precisely on the 2 men's dantian. Their dantian shatters, and their cultivation levels rapidly decline like a receding tide. Xiao Tian nods in satisfaction. Very good. Excellent. Then he turns to ask Long Qiu Dao again, if an ordinary person stabs them with a sword, is there a way for them to quickly heal and recover? Long Qiu Dao thinks seriously. It shouldn't be difficult. It's just a stab. After all, Xiao Tian ponders, what if they're stabbed or cut at intervals? Can they be kept in optimal condition? Long Qiu Dao considers this carefully. If the healing elixir is turned into a liquid, and the weapon is dipped in it before striking, it seems possible. Xiao Tianji and Eastern Gao Xian are almost frightened out of their wits. What happened to being supreme benevolent? How can you discuss such horrifying matters so calmly with this old man? Upon hearing that the method is feasible, Xiao Tian turns to tell the 2, if this can be done, then you have your chance to repent. For your own selfish reasons. You've taken so many innocent lives. So let them take matters into their own hands. We will spare your lives. The 2 men feel dizzy and disoriented, falling to the ground in horror. What does he mean by let the common people take matters into their own hands? There are over 3 billion people in the Great Flame Dynasty alone. And with the Eastern Flame Kingdom and Astral Pavilion, that's at least 20 billion. If each person takes a turn, even if the old man can keep us from dying, our souls will surely die. Long Qiu Dao also realizes this. This would take too much time, Lord Xiao. It might even take years. The 2 men kneeling on the ground quickly chime in. Yes, yes. Whether we live or die isn't important. Don't inconvenience yourselves. Xiao Tian waves his hand, signaling them to calm down. It's okay. Take it slow. Redemption and turning over a new leaf is a long process. He then tells Long Qiu Dao, just for these few years, you'll need to work extra hard to make sure they don't die. Long Qiu Dao's lips twitch. He looks at the two with a pitiful expression. You've really brought this upon yourselves. At his gaze, the two men's emotional defenses collapse entirely. Begging Xiao Tian to kill them and put them out of their misery. Xiao Tian shows a gentle smile. Really? You've been refining living beings, but never offered them a swift end. How can you have the audacity to ask for a quick death? Remember, what you need to do now is live on, and atone for your sins. This is all for your own good. The two men tremble all over, utterly despondent. They suddenly feel that the cruelest words they've ever heard are, "This is for your own good." God damn it. This is for our own good. Xiu Tianji and Eastern Gao Xian are tucked under Long Qiu Dao's arms, closely following behind Xiao Tian. And Xiao Tian, walking ahead, prepares to take them back to the Great Flame Dynasty. Just then, a surprised voice suddenly comes from ahead. Brother Xiao. Xiao Tian looks up abruptly, and the next second sees an extravagantly curvaceous woman, with a commanding aura, crashing into his face. It's none other than the Demon Clan Empress Luo Fengyuan. She excitedly pulls Xiao Tian into her arms, while Xiao Tian helplessly flails his arms in the air. This woman actually body-checked him. Xiao Tian struggles to break free from this damned restraint, as he can't breathe at all. In his mind, he's shouting, "Someone save me. I'm going to die." Fortunately, at that moment, Ziruan arrives and grabs the collar of Luo Fengyuan's dress, pulling her away. Are you trying to suffocate him? The saved Xiao Tian gasps for air, his face filled with relief as if he survived a calamity. Thank you, Your Majesty, for saving my life. If you had arrived a few steps later, I wouldn't have died at the enemy's hands, but at the hands of my own demoness here. Ziruan looks at the uninjured Xiao Tian, and her worry finally lessens considerably. She softly reassures him, "All right, stop talking, as long as you're fine." Saying this, Ziruan glares at Luo Fengyuan, always so careless. And you want to act like an empress? Luo Fengyuan scratches her head awkwardly. Wasn't I just too anxious? Immediately after, Luo Fengyuan's expression turns excited, clenching her fists together as she asks Xiao Tian, "Brother Xiao, where is that old blonde? This concubine will help you blow her up." Upon hearing this, Ziruan suddenly chops her on the head, her face full of anger. Luo Fengyuan hurriedly explains, "I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about that old woman." Ziruan, however, points to Long Qiu Dao standing behind her and laughs. "Do I get the feeling you did that on purpose? Didn't you see these two unconscious people? Doesn't that mean the situation has been resolved?" Luo Fengyuan pulls a slight smile, squinting her eyes in an ident-hair manner. "You're so strange, Your Majesty. Why would you tarnish someone's reputation out of the blue?" Seeing that the crisis is now averted, the two empresses, who had been fighting side by side, now start to lock horns again. Seeing this, Xiao Tian suddenly starts coughing violently. "Both of you, wait a moment," he says before suddenly falling backward. Ziruan and Luo Fengyuan get a big scare and quickly support him from both sides, their faces full of terrified expressions. Xiao Tian waves his hand and speaks in a strained voice, "I'm fine, it's just overexertion. Although I didn't use the ancient god clan's forbidden technique earlier, it was still a form of my power burst. Though there are no lingering worries, I still need a few days of rest to recover. Sorry for making you worried." Ziruan quickly shakes her head, her face full of emotion. "You've already done very well. You gave me a great surprise." King of Hell, Xiao Tian blushes, not wanting to recall this embarrassing moment any longer. Luo Fengyuan looks at Xiao Tian with utmost admiration. Exactly. I never thought Brother Xiao could be so amazing. Could a body cultivator also be this strong? Xiao Tian immediately puts on a humble face and scratches his head awkwardly. "Well, I just got lucky and found a small trick. To break the 10th tier limit." Ziruan suddenly looks at the desolate scenery around them. "Let's not talk about this now. This isn't a good place for chatting. Let's continue this at home." Luo Fengyuan nods her head frantically on the side, her face full of a happy smile. "Yes, let's continue at home." Xiao Tian looks at both of them somewhat surprised, and can't help but repeat their words. "Go home?" He's a bit stunned, as this is the first time in his life that he's heard these words. He feels his heart pounding rapidly, quite peculiarly. So having a home is such a wonderful feeling. At this moment, Xiao Tian leads everyone back to the Guardian Domain, returning to the Great Flame Dynasty. The citizens all burst into enthusiastic applause and cheers, shouting their thanks. Xiao Tian gives them a broad grin, waves in their direction, and shouts back, "You're welcome." Meanwhile, within the sea of consciousness, the soul of Xiao Tian reveals a slight smile. System Puppy floats beside him, looking at him curiously. In the originally dull sea of consciousness, a faint glimmer of light suddenly appears, brightening the dark space a little. Puppy looks at the light falling onto Xiao Tian's soul, and a shallow smile appears on its face. Although it's just a little light, it's enough to warm things up, isn't it, master? The walls and fortresses, constructed to defend against nightmare shards and negative emotions, also suddenly expand to double their size. As if everything is moving in a positive direction. Xiao Tian returns to the palace, lying on his custom-made spirit stone chair, closing his eyes in relaxation. Zhongling comes rushing over with fruit. Prince, everything is ready. Without opening his eyes, Xiao Tian waves his hand. All right, you may go. Practice your skills at the side. It must be because you didn't practice diligently that you weren't able to contribute during this crisis. You all need to reflect on this. Zhongling goes to the side and sighs helplessly. It's not our fault. The enemy was too strong. Long Qiu Dao timely hands over a cup of tea. Lord Xiao. Xiao Tian sips the tea with his eyes closed. And instantly a look of bliss spreads across his face. This tea is beyond words. Absolutely perfect. Long Qiu Dao hurriedly responds with modesty. Xiao Tian seems to suddenly remember something. Right. Long Qiu Dao. You served beside the human emperor in your past life, right? Did he run into any trouble? Long Qiu Dao shakes his head. It's been too long. As you know, I've discarded my physical body, left with only this incomplete and damaged spiritual form. I vaguely remember. It was a great catastrophe that nearly wiped out all the races. But with Lord Zhao's capabilities, when the catastrophe comes, self-preservation won't be difficult. Xiao Tian recalls when he killed an antagonist, who had said, the great horror that led a generation's great emperor to sacrifice himself is about to re-emerge. We must improve our abilities at all costs. To survive. Don't kill me. I have a lot of information I can tell you, you dog. Xiao Tian fiddles with his cup and thinks. According to what Xi Xunlian said before her death, the great catastrophe will come again. What a coincidence. Do you think this catastrophe is targeting me? Long Qiu Dao is taken aback. His hand holding the teapot shakes, nearly dropping it. Though at a loss for words, he still tells Xiao Tian, Lord Xiao, you're so kind and righteous. I don't think anyone would harm you without a reason. Xiao Tian shakes his head in disagreement. That's hard to say. Since I came here, in such a short time, I've been schemed against several times and faced numerous dangers. If not for my little bit of brute strength, I would have been long dead by now. By the way, where's Xiao Yu? Xiao Tian looks around, but doesn't see her. Long Qiu Dao quickly explains she went to find the two empresses. Ever since she became the artifact spirit of the National Seal Jade Stamp, she likes to stay by the side of the two empresses. Just then, speak of the devil, Xiao Yu bursts in, stops abruptly in front of Xiao Tian, and shouts, Daddy, they are fighting again. Xiao Tian isn't particularly concerned, and calmly asks what the reason is this time. Xiao Yu says earnestly, they are arguing over who should be the chief wife. Zi Empress says it should be whoever is smarter, while Luo Empress says it should be whoever is bigger. Yet her little face shows some confusion. Xiao Tian has to ask, what are you thinking? Xiao Yu shakes her head in slight confusion. Daddy, why did Luo Empress say something about her being big? Hearing this, Xiao Tian, caught off guard, suddenly chokes on his tea. But can only laugh and tell Xiao Yu, well, you're still young. You'll understand when you're older. Xiao Yu obediently nods. All right then. Suddenly she turns her head toward the door. Mom is coming. Being the National Seal Jade Stamp's artifact spirit, she naturally can sense Si Ruoyan's approach in advance. The two women walk in side by side, sweat on their foreheads and expressions of dissatisfaction on their faces. Obviously, either has gained the upper hand from their earlier argument. At this moment, Zi Ruoyan and Luo Fengyuan each sit on one side of Xiao Tian, sulking. Xiao Tian dares not move, when suddenly, Zi Ruoyan reaches out and grabs Xiao Tian's teacup, tilting her head back to drink the remaining tea. Xiao Tian is stunned. What is she up to now? Luo Fengyuan is so angry she nearly grinds her back teeth. She snatches the teapot from Wang Qiudao's hand, startling him. Then takes out an empty teacup, and angrily pours herself a cup, her expression as if daring anyone to say she can't. Next, Luo Fengyuan puts on a charming appearance, and coquettishly tells Xiao Tian, Brother Xiao, have some tea. Xiao Tian still dares not move. Luo Fengyuan looks challengingly at Zi Ruoyan and laughs. Ziban, see? You still have a lot to learn. Zi Ruoyan snorts, rolls her eyes, and dismissively says, childish. Then she lies down on Xiao Tian. I'm tired. Luo Fengyuan follows suit, lying on the other side. I'm tired too. Xiao Tian is squeezed between them, almost in tears. Can you not involve me in your argument? This is so uncomfortable. On the side, Xiao Yu and Wang Qiudao are covering their mouths, stifling their laughter. Just then, Lu Yan enters to report, Your Majesties, Prime Minister Zhong has arrived. She barely finishes speaking when Zhong Yangming bursts in. Your Majesties, this is bad. The sky has cracked open. Ziruo Yan is confused. What do you mean? Explain. Zhong Yangming catches his breath. Just now, cracks started appearing in the sky in various places. People are panicking. Outside the Imperial City just now, Zhong Yangming can't finish. What a cracking sound is heard overhead. Everyone looks up in surprise, and lo and behold, a crack has appeared in the sky as well. Xiao Tian is stunned for a moment, then turns to Wang Qiudao with a serious expression. What is going on? Wang Qiudao opens his mouth wide. This. Xiao Tian interrupts with a warning. If you dare say you've lost your memory. Wang Qiudao quickly thinks. The sacred dragon guardian realm is collapsing. This means that the sacred dragon's juvenile period has safely passed. Although you're not the sacred dragon, Empress'S, you are the ones this realm is protecting. Wang Qiudao explains. But Zhong Yangming suddenly interrupts. No, Mr. Dragon Mound, may I ask you something? Go ahead. Wang Qiudao invites. Zhong Yangming respectfully asks, will the sacred dragon guardian realm switch its protection target in the middle of its term? It won't. Once the sacred dragon guardian realm is formed, it will not change the individual it protects. Wang Qiudao answers. Hearing this, Zhong Yangming nods and turns to Ziruo Yan. So it appears there is a problem with the sacred dragon guardian realm's protection of Supreme Emperor, esteemed Purple Emperor. Wang Qiudao steps forward to add, each sacred dragon guardian realm has different rules. Only the sacrificed dead dragon that created it knows the criteria for its disappearance. Xiao Tian interrupts. Could it be that father-in-law broke through a boundary in a secret realm? Wang Qiudao nods. It should be so. Their conversation leaves everyone else in a stunned silence. Ziruo Yan curiously asks, what secret realm were you talking about? Xiao Tian suddenly realizes he has been a bit too relaxed recently. He had forgotten to mention the matters about his father-in-law and mother-in-law that Zi Xinlian had told him. I don't know if I'll get scolded for saying it now, he thinks. Taking a deep breath to calm himself, he straightens his face and starts explaining, Zi Xinlian has a deep connection with your mother, and in order to get accurate information, I had to seduce her using my looks. Upon hearing this, Ziruo Yan is literally petrified. What the fuck? What did I just hear? He seduced her with his looks. Luo Fengyuan is also quite shocked and quickly rushes up to ask, Xiao brother, what did that old woman do to you? I knew it couldn't have been that easy to deal with a level 17 individual. Xiao Tian sighs. She saw me at my most handsome, and for a very long time at that. I even had to strike various poses and angles for her. He then shares the information he gathered. Esteemed Purple Emperor and Shui Rian went into a secret realm to focus on their cultivation, aiming to rebel against the head of the Shui family. They've probably already. Wang Qiudao, who knows the whole story, isn't really listening. You're right. Your sacrifice is enormous. You're such a good person. He thinks sarcastically. Ziruo Yan just sighs. Is that it? Luo Fengyuan thinks to herself, what a relief. I thought he'd done something even worse. Xiao Tian can't sit still any longer. What's with your reactions? I'm so handsome, and she looked at me up close for so long. She got such a bargain. Why don't you all care? Can I get some reaction here? Lu Yan suddenly smiles. Well, Prince, we've also been looking at you for a long time. How does that count? Xiao Tian dismisses it. Old ladies and kids don't count. Lu Yan's eyes turn red, nearly exploding with anger. Who is he calling an old lady? So infuriating. And I can't even beat him up, which makes it even worse. Zhong Yangming watches the scene and shakes his head in satisfaction. In his view, the prince is clearly changing the subject. He must have forgotten about the matter of their Royal Highness parents. With that in mind, Zhong Yangming steps forward to ask Xiao Tian. Prince, although this request may make you uncomfortable, please try to recall what Zi Xinlian told you when you used your good looks to seduce her. Was it related to the Supreme Emperor? Hearing this, Xiao Tian gives a mental thumbs up to Zhong Yangming. Well done, heavy cavalry. You really understand me, as expected of my family chef. Subsequently, Xiao Tian puts on a face like he's trying hard to remember. Initially, Zi Xinlian mentioned that my in-laws went into a secret realm to break free from the control of the Shui family. However, they lost contact with the outside world while inside. Then he recounts the whole story one by one. Ziruo Yan suddenly starts. Then her face fills with rage. This Zi Xunlian is nothing but a beast. My mother trusted her, and this is what she does in return. Luo Fengyuan pats her on the shoulder to comfort her. Anyway, she has already been dealt with by Xiao brother. Consider it a comfort to your late brother's spirit. Zhong Yangming, meanwhile, is calmly analyzing. If that's the case, the situation doesn't look very good for the Supreme Emperor and the Empress Dowager. Thinking this, he turns to Zi Ruoyan. Your Majesty, regardless, we must find and establish contact with them. Zi Ruoyan nods in agreement. Exactly. We have to search for my father and mother. Moreover, we can no longer continue to stay in this protected realm. We must move. Upon hearing this, Luo Fengyuan turns to Xiao Tian. By the way, Xiao brother, which world does the Zi family belong to? In which territory? In which Shui family are we talking about? Xiao Tian is momentarily stumped. Ah, this. He glances around, wanting to complain in his heart. I'm not familiar with this world either. Aren't you asking the wrong person? No. I have to answer in a way that hides my ignorance. So, Xiao Tian puts on a mysterious demeanor and says seriously. The Zi family descended from the human emperor, and the Shui family that is in friendly relations with them. Hearing this, Luo Fengyuan is also stumped. What a good answer. Maybe you shouldn't answer next time. Seeing Luo Fengyuan's reaction, Zi Ruoyan is somewhat puzzled. What's the matter? Shouldn't the Zi family with the title of human emperor descendants be easy to find? At this moment, one of Luo Fengyuan's personal guards suddenly explains. Great Flame Empress, you may not know this, but in the primordial demon kingdom, there are 17 Zi families claiming to be descendants of the human emperor. Zi Ruoyan turns her head in astonishment, speechless. Are you serious? Another guard steps up. Even though much has been lost from that era, there is one thing that all races know. The human emperor was very amorous. He had 3,000 wives, each of whom was incredibly beautiful and captivating. Good heavens, Xiao Tian is dumbfounded. So the human emperor was really something, huh? Yes. And each of the human emperor's 3,000 wives had dozens of children. Luo Fengyuan adds with a smile. So in each realm or world, there are legitimate descendants of the human emperor from the Zi family. No fewer than dozens, if not 100. As for the Shui family, they should be descendants of the great Virtue Emperor, one of the 4 emperors. Under the human emperor. They too are everywhere. Xiao Tian can't help but roll his eyes. What a human emperor, and what a great Virtue Emperor. You guys really have good stamina. Meanwhile, in a very distant secret realm, various forces are controlling palace-like spiritual artifacts that slowly float in the void. A young man can't help but worry. I wonder how the young lady and the others are doing inside the secret realm. Hearing this, another man snorts. I really don't know why they chose to take Shui Rian and her useless husband with them. The young man quickly gestures for him to lower his voice. Be careful what you say. Shui Rian's husband has the bloodline of the human emperor. At the same time, inside the secret realm, a woman stands atop a mountain, fending off various attacks. However, waves continuously flow around her, as if a large sea suspended in the air is blocking the attackers. Another woman can't help but loudly question, how can you not support your family, but instead assist that man? What on earth is so charming about him that you're so bewitched? To protect him? Shui Rian lets out a cold laugh. Are you out of your mind? He's my husband. Who else would I protect if not him? Seeing this, the man can only turn his focus towards esteemed Purple Emperor, attempting to provoke him. So, he points at esteemed Purple Emperor and angrily scolds, hiding behind a woman. Do you even consider yourself a man? I'm embarrassed for you. Do you have any shame? Esteemed Purple Emperor simply ignores him, continuing to eat his divine flame vermilion fruit. The woman, seeing this, becomes even more frustrated. You're a practitioner of the ice path. Why are you eating so enthusiastically? Suddenly, esteemed Purple Emperor retorts, while chewing on the fruit. How much is face worth these days? Fine. I have no shame. I live off a woman. What are you going to do about it? Not satisfied? Then find one for yourself. He grows increasingly irate. If I hadn't been trapped in a turtle shell since I was young, I would have destroyed you wastes long ago. Having said this, esteemed Purple Emperor swallows the divine flame vermilion fruit. The next second, he actually breaks through to the next realm. Looking at everyone present, esteemed Purple Emperor snorts in his heart. Such a bunch of spoiled wastes. I must become stronger and take control of my own destiny, rescuing my in-laws from the Shui family. And then we can go back and find our children as a whole family. Shui Rian looks back at her husband, grips her spear tightly, and mutters, "My husband grows stronger quickly. Who knows how our children are doing?" Saying this, Shui Rian picks up her weapon and charges at the two people. Meanwhile, in the Great Flame Dynasty, Long Qiu Dao is still narrating. In that era, humanity was declining. The human emperor's intention was to leave behind strong bloodlines that could at least hold up a piece of sky when they grew up. He didn't expect the result to be too effective. The three people listening feel awkward. So the biggest obstacle to the empress finding her parents is that their ancestor, the human emperor, had too many offspring. Long Qiu Dao slaps his head, trying to recall the past. Back then, there was no title of human emperor. He was just a powerful individual among humans. But what was the big war about? Was it related to the great catastrophe? I really can't remember. Seeing this, Xiao Tian shows a helpless expression. Fine. If your memory isn't working, stop slapping your head. You might break it before you remember anything. Long Qiu Dao can only give an awkward smile to cover up his embarrassment. At this moment, Zhong Yangming suddenly stands up, spreads his hands, and says, "We definitely have to find the Supreme Emperor and the Empress Dowager. Although it's like finding a needle in a haystack, we can still try." Turning to look at Ziroyan, Zhong Yangming adds, "Your Majesty, the most pressing matter at hand is that this protective domain is about to shatter. What should we do about the common people?" Ziroyan lowers her head in deep thought. After a long pause, she suddenly looks at Luo Fengyuan. "Why not use the war furnace to evacuate everyone?" Luo Fengyuan shakes her head. "That won't work. It's not big enough. We might end up crushing people." Long Qiu Dao strokes his beard, muttering to himself, "The Holy Dragon Relic has its own world inside where we could take the people. There might not be enough time. It's too rushed." He looks up at the sky, noting the changes. This protective domain will likely shatter in a few days. Ziroyan grows anxious, sweat dripping down. A few days? That's way too tight. Dragon? Mount Elder, is there really no other way? Just then, Xiao Tian suddenly speaks with excitement. "Wait, I have a solution." Ziroyan looks at him with a worried face. "Lord Xiao, you haven't recovered from your injuries. Let's think of another way. Don't harm yourself." Xiao Tian smiles, an extremely satisfied smile. "Your Majesty, are you worried about me?" The moment he says this, Ziroyan blushes and stammers, unable to speak. Luo Fengyuan takes the opportunity to interrupt. "Brother Xiao, the Great Flame Empress is only worried about the people." "How could she worry about?" Her words are cut off as Ziroyan covers her mouth to prevent her from continuing. Ziroyan defends herself. "I'm not worried. I just can't bear it." Xiao Tian stares at his first wife. This occasionally tsundere empress, is she trying to aggressively flirt now? How interesting. Because the protective domain is about to break, Xiao Tian thinks of a way to protect the people. However, Ziroyan assumes he'll have to burn his life force to do it. "Don't worry. I'm just offering a suggestion, using a tool. The main person who will act is Long Qiu Dao," Xiao Tian reassures her. Hearing this, Ziroyan, while still covering Luo Fengyuan's mouth, turns to Long Qiu Dao. "Then I'll have to trouble Elder Dragon Mount. Please keep an eye on Lord Xiao, and make sure he doesn't act recklessly." Long Qiu Dao smiles and nods at Ziroyan. "You are the existence among the human emperor's descendants who awaken the true human emperor bloodline. You don't have to be so polite with an old man like me." Ziroyan shakes her head earnestly. "You're an elder. No need for modesty. Lord Xiao will be in your care." Long Qiu Dao feels awkward. "You should be telling him to watch out for me, not the other way around. But rest assured." Xiao Tian waves at everyone. "Then we'll be going." Before leaving, he doesn't forget to pat Xiao Yu's head. "Stay and play with your mothers. Daddy has some important things to do." Xiao Yu, who was laughing at Long Qiu Dao's antics a moment ago, obediently nods her head when her dad speaks. "Okay." Immediately, Xiao Tian and Long Qiu Dao turn into two streaks of light shooting into the sky. Only after they've disappeared from sight does Ziroyan turn to Luo Fengyuan. Luo Fengyuan points at Ziroyan, angrily questioning. "You're cheating." Ziroyan chuckles softly and pours herself a cup of tea. "How can this be considered cheating? It's fair competition. Perfectly reasonable." Luo Fengyuan is infuriated, but quickly changes her expression to one of smugness. "Just now, I fed Brother Xiao water. Can you do that?" Ziroyan coldly glances at her, childish. Ziroyan then tells Zhong Yangming, Regardless of whatever method Lord Xiao has thought of, proceed with the existing plans. Try to arrange for the citizens to pack their belongings and move into the fortified structures. Zhongyang bows. Your Majesty, rest assured. We are already doing that. Luo Fengyuan looks somewhat worried. I wonder what kind of method Brother Xiao has thought of. I hope nothing goes wrong. Ziroyan lowers her head in thought, recalling Xiao Tian's determined gaze. I don't think so. He was being truthful. He said he wouldn't burn himself up or use any forbidden spells. So he won't. Hearing this, relieved, Luo Fengyuan starts daydreaming again. Come to think of it, Brother Xiao is really amazing. A body cultivator with such incredible power. I wonder just how powerful he is. The eldest, one of the personal guards, suddenly chimes in. I've heard that some heavenly materials and earthly treasures can indeed help body cultivators break their limits. Their combat power could even compare to a 17th level. At this, Luo Fengyuan excitedly pats her chest, revealing her grand plans. This Empress is extraordinarily talented. Once I break through the 20th level, I'll find those treasures for Brother Xiao. I'll help him break his own limits and become the #1 body cultivator in all the realms and domains of this universe. Ziroyan takes a sip of her hot tea and casts a mocking glance. Oh please, with your intellect I'm really concerned that you won't find any treasures and will instead get yourself in trouble. This matter is better handled by me. Luo Fengyuan explodes, glaring at her as she grits her teeth. You're so annoying. Can you not talk about brains? Really? Ziroyan sets down her teacup and reveals a mischievous smile. If not brains, then what? Should I say that a fool is sitting on top of your neck? Unable to win either in a verbal exchange or by yelling, Luo Fengyuan finally loses her temper. Ah, you little bun. I'll fight you. The two immediately tumble into a playful brawl. Xiao Yu watches them with a somewhat wistful look. Why do our mothers love fighting so much? Lu Yen crosses her arms, thoroughly enjoying the spectacle. Her Majesty's combat skills are improving rapidly. Luo Fengyuan's 3 personal guards, long accustomed to this, nod in agreement. Our Empress is also making rapid progress. Xiongling let out a light sigh. So exhausting. But she had no choice but to continue her tedious standing meditation practice, while watching the 2 Empresses fight to amuse herself. At this moment, Xiao Tian and Long Qiu Dao arrive at the deepest part of the storage area. Slowly, he opens the final door, revealing his most closely guarded secret. Xiao Tian caresses a metal cabinet. Unable to help his sentiment, I didn't expect to actually use this. Long Qiu Dao, full of curiosity, examines the cabinet. Master Xiao, what is this? Xiao Tian smiles nostalgically. This is a single soldier armor weapons arsenal. Pausing for effect, Master Level Edition, Long Qiu Dao looks confused. A single soldier weapons arsenal? Never heard of it. It must be quite powerful, right? Meanwhile, Xiao Tian has already verified his palm print. Slowly opening the cabinet, as the door opens, a hissing sound of gas emanates from it, revealing the true nature of the weapons arsenal. Long Qiu Dao is transfixed, unable to suppress a gasp of astonishment. Xiao Tian is also excitedly looking inside the cabinet. The first thing he sees is a golden demonic mask, ferocious yet mysterious. Below the mask are a sword and a knife, each engraved with the phrases "One sword to wealth" and "Worldwide peace." There is also a faint blue electric current pulsating. Long Qiu Dao is dumbfounded. What kind of writing is this? I've never seen it before. And how can there be an electric current inside a metal cabinet? Xiao Tian laughs as he draws a knife from the cabinet. This is my weapon, black and white. With a gentle swipe, the knife easily tears a crack in the space in front of him. Satisfied, Xiao Tian smirks. Not bad. Truly worthy of being my weapon. Now, on to serious matters. With that, Xiao Tian gestures, and a sheath from the arsenal is drawn to his hand. He sheathes the knife, his expression turning serious, and leads Long Qiu Dao back out. Long Qiu Dao keeps glancing back at the slowly healing spatial rift. Shocked in his heart. This knife is too terrifying. Catching up with Xiao Tian, Long Qiu Dao suddenly asks, Master Xiao, you took the weapon. Why didn't you wear the battle armor? Xiao Tian looks at him somewhat speechlessly. We're going to address the safety issues of the people, not get into a fight. What's the use of wearing that thing? Pausing, Xiao Tian then corrects him very seriously. Also, that's my former assassin's outfit, not battle armor. Long Qiu Dao is startled. Assassin's outfit? Considering its flashy gold color, how did you ever manage to assassinate anyone while wearing it? Xiao Tian thinks for a moment. I once had a friend who was into stealth and assassination. He was so good at hiding that he liked to hide in toilets, under beds, and in cabinets. As a result, he earned strange titles like Slayer of the Shitter, Killer under the Bed, and Shadow in the Cabinet. Learning from that, I changed my method of stealth. I call it frontal stealth. I'd wear this cool assassin outfit with a mask and just eliminate everyone at once. Isn't that perfect stealth? With that, Xiao Tian suddenly gives a thumbs up, looking very proud. That's why my title is King of Hell. Long Qiu Dao is stunned for a moment, but finally claps softly. You're right. There's no flaw in your logic. Keep it up. Walking behind Xiao Tian, Long Qiu Dao suddenly asks, Master Xiao, how do you plan to handle this situation? Slowly drawing the impermanent knife, Xiao Tian says, since there are too many people and not enough time to transport everyone into the Holy Dragon Relic, I'll simply cut out the space of the Guardian Domain. Can you pull it directly into the relic? Long Qiu Dao is taken aback. That's a bold and skillful plan. Of course, it's possible. If such a large space is cut out, it will be stable enough to be directly pulled into the Holy Dragon Relic without any issues. Then let's get started. With a slight smile, Xiao Tian leaps forward, holding the impermanent knife imbued with a golden flame. Raising his hand, he lightly slashes at the space, and a spatial rift instantly starts to spread. The entire Guardian Domain seems as though it's being disemboweled and packaged away. Looking at his handiwork, Xiao Tian is clearly very happy. So many people are saved, and once again using this knife is not for slaughter, but for saving lives. He thinks, I'm actually being a good person, rescuing countless families. Families? Xiao Tian seems to think of something and suddenly turns to ask Long Qiu Dao. Eastern Flame Kingdom and Astral Pavilion are now lands without masters. Wouldn't the captured people be happy to return to their homelands? Hearing this, Long Qiu Dao suddenly starts, Master Xiao, are you thinking of? A glint of wisdom flashes in Xiao Tian's eyes. Exactly what you're thinking. If I also cut out the territory of the Eastern Flame Kingdom, an Astral Pavilion, will it fit? Long Qiu Dao's mouth twitches. After pondering for a long time, he finally says, Master Xiao, over in the bipolar realm, it's a normal dimensional world. Cutting out space, there would be 100 times more difficult than here. Xiao Tian reassures him as if it's a small matter. No issue. I'll just increase my strength by 100 times when I'm cutting, right? Long Qiu Dao suddenly feels uneasy and cautiously asks, Master Xiao, if I may be so bold, did you just cut out that space using only 1% of your power? Xiao Tian blurts out. Of course not. Relieved, Long Qiu Dao exhales, good, good. You haven't shattered my understanding of the world. But the next second, Xiao Tian estimates and says, probably around 5-10 thousandths of my strength. Long Qiu Dao is instantly stunned, his eyes glazing over as if his soul is about to ascend. His understanding of the world has finally collapsed. Seeing Long Qiu Dao almost going offline, Xiao Tian hurriedly comforts him, are you alright? I was just joking with you. After a moment, Long Qiu Dao, who has barely recovered, shakes his head wildly while laughing and crying, Master Xiao, no need to say more. 5-10 thousandths, haha. He, Xiao Tian, looks at Long Qiu Dao holding his head, acting like he's gone mad. Why can't Long Qiu Dao take the truth? Why did he break? I know how to kill people, but how do I deal with a mad old man? I have no clue. Or is it because I'm too strong? And after telling him, he went mad with jealousy. Xiao Tian speculates to himself, and seems to find an answer. Shaking his head, he warns himself, better not tell the harsh truth in the future. Excellent men always attract jealousy. After a long time, Long Qiu Dao, who has calmed down, boasts slightly to Xiao Tian, I lost my composure for a moment, forgive me. Xiao Tian asks with concern, are you really alright? I was really joking with you earlier. Long Qiu Dao nods vigorously and stands close to Xiao Tian, smiling obsequiously, Master Xiao, I understand. From today on, I will be Xiao Tian's personal old steward. No one else can command me, even if it's the human emperor or the prince. I belong to Xiao Tian. No changing that. Alright, as long as you're fine, Xiao Tian says. Walking back, let's go find Luoxi and Zhou Yisun. Long Qiu Dao pauses, why is that? Xiao Tian smiles, look, the southern wilderness realm is deserted. So of course, I can cut it at will. Bipolar realm is different. Other powers exist there. I'm a reasonable person. To avoid accidentally cutting into someone else's territory, I need those two locals as my advisors. Shortly after, in a plaza outside the Imperial City within the Guardian Realm, Eastern Gao Xian and Zhou Tianji are suspended on a platform, hands behind their backs and feet tied together, in an incredibly rare posture. The crowd below is buzzing, but the two hanging men have lifeless eyes, like walking corpses. Luoxi tells Xiao Tian, their souls have collapsed. They're gone, but their bodies are still alive. Xiao Tian sighs deeply. It seems they still haven't realized their mistakes. They're sending me their final silent roar by collapsing. Their souls. Well, they were men of courage. Let's take them down and lay them to rest. Zhou Yishan, standing nearby, quickly agrees. Suddenly, Xiao Tian turns around, looking curious. By the way, how did they end up like this? Who did it? Zhou Yishan replies truthfully. It was ordered by Prime Minister Zhong. Xiao Tian's eyes widen in astonishment. Done by Zhong the chef? So, is it General Zhong who knows how to have fun, or is it you, the chef? You two. As a couple. Something's not right. After instructing that the two bodies be taken down, Xiao Tian signals to a nearby official, young man, come here for a moment. Facing this hero, Prince of the Great Flame Dynasty, the young man hurriedly steps forward, his face filled with admiration. Prince, what are your orders? Xiao Tian carefully considers for a moment. I've thought it over carefully. Let's build them decent graves. Remember, the tombstones must be large, enough to list their foolish deeds. Write it in the style of a self-critique. Then place a statue next to the tombstone kneeling, so that the statues can continue to atone for their sins. Xiao Tian's face is full of compassion. Remember, the material has to be good. This is the only thing I can do for them. Hopefully, they will be moved in the afterlife. The young man is thrilled. Prince, that's a brilliant idea, making them restless even in death. They truly deserve it. He bows excitedly. Prince, I'll go and get it done right away. Watching the young man's elated departure, Xiao Tian feels both pleased and content. He turns to Long Qiu Dao, Zhou Yishan, and Luoxi. See, doing good deeds makes people happy. Look at him, how happy he is smiling. Long Qiu Dao smiles warmly in response. Master Xiao, you're absolutely right. Luoxi wipes the sweat from his forehead, sharing the sentiment with Zhou Yishan. Of all the people to cross, you had to cross this guy. He won't let you rest even in death, and he says it's for your own good. Actually, you'll never find peace, and yet he insists it's for your benefit. Truly, you had it coming. Xiao Tian turns to the two and says, all right, let's talk about the real reason I asked for your assistance. I want to sever and take away both the Eastern Flame Kingdom and the Astral Pavilion. I need you two to help me identify the dividing points between them and the other powers in the bipolar realm. Moving closer to the two, Xiao Tian continues, after this is accomplished, remember, the credit mainly goes to Long Qiu Dao. You can't say it was my doing. Otherwise, Her Majesty will worry about me. Even if I explain, she'll think I'm making excuses. Speaking the truth these days is risky. Just earlier, someone almost had a meltdown due to it. As he says this, Xiao Tian glances at Long Qiu Dao, whose face is full of obedient attention. Zhou Yishan, however, is somewhat shocked. Prince Xiao, can this really be done? Luoxi is equally concerned. Prince Xiao, be careful. If you get caught in a fractured space, it's no joke. Moments later, both Luoxi and Zhou Yishan are left stunned, almost dropping their jaws and eyes. My God, he's not human. They watch in disbelief as Xiao Tian cuts through the space as smoothly as slicing tofu, and Long Qiu Dao methodically draws it into the Holy Dragon relic. Xiao Tian has genuinely severed the space of the guarded domain and packed it up to take away. Luoxi trembles, silently praying, brother, I will inherit your will, protect the people well, and follow Prince Xiao towards a new future. Zhou Yishan covers his face in fear and a somewhat frenzied expression. I talked back just now. I'm really courting death. I won't get beaten, will I? Xiao Tian pays no mind to their thoughts, simply instructing Long Qiu Dao beside him. First, take these two into the Holy Dragon relic. We're going to the bipolar realm. Almost instantaneously, the scene around Xiao Tian shifts rapidly, and they arrive at their destination in the next second. Luoxi and Zhou Yishan look at the familiar bipolar realm. We're here already? Xiao Tian looks down at the land below him and slowly draws out his impermanent knife. This should be fun. He turns to the two and says, you two are in charge of providing information. I'll handle the cutting, and Long Qiu Dao will take care of storing it in the relic. With just a few swishes, the entire space is divided cleanly, without a hitch or any oversight. The whole block of space slowly floats up and is transferred into the Holy Dragon relic by Long Qiu Dao. Xiao Tian watches his handiwork while contemplating. The task of moving everyone into the Holy Dragon relic is done. Now it's time to find my in-laws. But will they disapprove of me? I'm just a son-in-law who lives off his wife. Other than fighting, I can't do much else. Oh well, I'll deal with that later. Giving up on his thoughts, Xiao Tian dives into the Holy Dragon relic. Going back and playing with Empress is more fun. Meanwhile, far away, the esteemed Purple Emperor, hiding behind his wife, suddenly sneezes. Strange. Who's thinking about me? Never mind. I'll just eat some spiritual fruit to increase my abilities. At this moment in the palace, Jiroyan is panting heavily, fanning herself continuously. This is too exhausting. Luo Fengyuan stands to the side, hands on her waist, and laughs heartily. Ha ha ha, that was such an exhilarating fight. Wiping the sweat from her forehead, Jiroyan can only sigh in resignation. Luo Fengyuan, you're like an energetic cow. You fight endlessly and seem to get more and more excited. At this moment, Luo Fengyuan, who has calmed her emotions, suddenly thinks of something. Looking at Jiroyan, she says, I think I can guess what Brother Zhao's plan might be. He will probably first test how many people the Holy Dragon relic can accommodate in the coming days, and then use the war furnace to evacuate some. He'll save as many people as possible. The territories of Eastern Flame Kingdom and Astral Pavilion in the Bipolar Realm are currently no man's land. Migrating there should be no issue. Pausing, Luo Fengyuan looks at Jiroyan seriously. As for me, the Empress, I will do my best to help. I will make sure that as many of our citizens as possible are safe, allowing the Great Flame Dynasty to thrive on new land. You've said before that we must preserve the Great Flame Dynasty so that when your parents return, they will have a home. Jiroyan wants to say something but can't find the words. She remembers that Luo Fengyuan, when drunk, once said that all her parents and siblings had died. Is Luo Fengyuan saying goodbye now? Indeed. Luo Fengyuan's eyes, shimmering with restrained tears, tells Jiroyan that this might be their last duel. The next time we meet, who knows when that will be, she says, trying to smile. After all, I am the Holy Demon Empress of the Primordial Demon Kingdom. I can't remain in exile forever. If it were before, I would have stayed here, despite your annoying habits, like ambushing me during baths. But having someone to argue and fight with has been rather nice. You remind me of a sister. Upon saying this, Luo Fengyuan finally can't hold back her tears from Mu. I learned what it means to be an empress, what responsibility is. I also realized that the fates of many in the Primordial Demon Kingdom depend on my choices. Jiroyan looks at her with reassurance and earnestly tells her, you will certainly be a great empress. Finally, Luo Fengyuan says solemnly, Jiroyan, take good care of yourself. If anything happens, make sure you come to find me. You may not realize just how terrifying your awakened abilities are. Know that, in tens of millions of years, there have only been 2 awakenings among the descendants of the human emperor. So, you must keep your bloodline and constitution a secret. Upon hearing this, Jiroyan's expression also becomes serious. She nods, don't worry. I understand. Before parting, Luo Fengyuan pats Jiroyan's head, I will help you gather information about your parents. If there's any news, I'll send someone to inform you. Also, take good care of Brother Xiao for now. Once the Primordial Demon Kingdom stabilizes, I will come to get people. Luo Fengyuan extends her hand and Jiroyan grips it. Give up any hope of victory by then. Looking at the two, seemingly reluctant to part, their 3 female bodyguards can't help but feel emotional. The Empress has finally grown up. Although the Bipolar Realm and the Holy Demon Realm aren't far apart, who knows how many years will pass before they meet again. Perhaps Xiao Tian will become an indelible part of the Empress' memory. Luo Yuan also watches them keenly. The appearance of the Holy Demon Empress makes up for the fact that Her Majesty has no close friends. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. Just as everyone is lost in emotion, Xiao Yu suddenly speaks, but both of you mothers should know. Dad and Dragon Mound have already packed up the territory and moved it. The Holy Dragon Relic is already flying towards the Holy Demon Realm. This farewell is meaningless. You'll be together again soon anyway. She shrugs, you both are so silly. One moment you're like sisters, and the next you're kicking and punching each other. At this moment, Jiroyan looks at Xiao Yu. Her eyes filled with confusion, packed up and moved. Luo Fengyuan is stunned for a moment. The Holy Dragon Relic is flying toward the Holy Demon Realm? We're all inside the Holy Dragon Relic right now. Xiaoyu nods. Didn't you feel a bit shaky and nauseous just now? That was when we entered the Holy Dragon Relic. Zhiruoyan looks at Xiaoyu in shock. You mean the entire Great Flame Dynasty has been placed inside the Holy Dragon Relic? Zhiruoyan has already caught on and slowly asks Xiaoyu, who nods in confirmation. Yes. Dad and Dragon Mound somehow managed to separate the entire Great Flame Dynasty from the Southern Wilderness Realm and placed it inside the relic. Because I have a connection with the Holy Dragon Relic, I could sense it. Xiaoyu's words leave Luo Fengyuan somewhat puzzled. If that's the case, shouldn't the Holy Dragon Relic be flying toward the Bipolar Realm? Xiaoyu slowly explains. Dad and Dragon Mound also separated the territories of the Eastern Flame Kingdom and the Astral Pavilion from the Bipolar Realm and placed them inside the Holy Dragon Relic. At this point, Xiaoyu shrugs. That's why I said they packed up and moved. Upon hearing Xiaoyu's words, the room falls into complete silence. The 3 female bodyguards are left speechless, staring at Xiaoyu. They know full well just how outrageous this accomplishment is. Space is not something you can simply manipulate at will. Especially a whole, healthy world realm. To cut off such a large area. Could it have been Long Qiu Dao's doing? No wonder he once followed the human emperor. His abilities are truly terrifying. In that case, Luo Fengyuan finally breaks the silence. It would be best for Brother Xiao to stay in my demonic palace. It's big, soft, and comfortable. Luo Fengyuan suddenly smirks, and Zirayan points at her. Didn't someone just say something about giving their place to whoever came first? Did someone say that? Lo Kao. Zibun. The next second, the 2 figures collide again, as if their previous tender sisterly affection was merely an illusion. Moments later, Xiao Tian's head pops out from the courtyard entrance, looking puzzled. Are they still fighting? Are they really that energetic? Meanwhile, in the Eastern Flame Kingdom, the citizens are tearfully grateful towards Luo Shi. It's good to be back. Thanks to you, we can finally return home. Luo Shi, helping an elderly man, says, all credit goes to Prince Xiao. Without him, you wouldn't even be alive, let alone returning home. Hearing this, the people of Eastern Flame unanimously speak, yes, we all know the name of Prince Xiao, Supreme Benevolent Sugar Baby Deity. We've already discussed it. Once we get home, we'll set up a shrine to honor him daily. Exactly. I'll prepare a shrine in my house as well. My family too. Just then, Luo Shi's nephew interrupts, aren't you exaggerating Prince Xiao's achievements? Wouldn't the Great Flame Empress be? Before he could finish, Luo Shi slaps him, trembling with anger. If you want to die, don't drag me into it. What nonsense are you talking about? Prince Xiao is unparalleled in benevolence and respect. What are you compared to him? Spreading such nonsense. You can quit your post. Go home, lock yourself up for 10 years, and come out only when you've improved your temperament. Meanwhile, in the Astral Pavilion, Zhou Yixin tells everyone, from now on, we must maintain the utmost respect for Prince Xiao, follow his words, and carry out his will. Remember, Prince Xiao is even more revered than your ancestors. Understand? The disciples hurriedly reply, understood. Zhou Yixin clenches his fist. Trust me, this is the best decision for everyone. Following Prince Xiao is absolutely the right choice. I don't want to say much more. Let's continue our work. Arrange for the citizens as Prince commanded. Be polite in both speech and action. Serve the people. Understand? The disciples loudly reply, understood. At this moment, in a far-off place, inside a grand hall, many people are staring at a crystal. Inside the crystal are figures that surprisingly turn out to be Zirayan's parents. Within this mystical realm, the sacred spirit fox awakens. I am the guardian spirit of this sacred site. Did you summon me? The sacred spirit fox turns to the esteemed purple emperor. Have you awakened your human emperor bloodline? Your daughter Zirayan has also awakened her human emperor bloodline. The sacred spirit fox seems incredulous. You didn't bring her with you. Where did she awaken her bloodline then? At this moment, fearsome powerhouses who are waiting for the trial to end are getting impatient. Find her immediately. Search for the esteemed purple emperor's daughter and bring her back. Ha, Zirayan, ha. If we find her and marry her to one of our kin, the next generation could have a semi-emperor bloodline. That would be quite something. Elder Shui, since you've got the esteemed purple emperor in your grasp, it's time for us to vie for Zirayan. Old Snowy, it's weird. You asked the Snow family patriarch to save your own daughter and son-in-law back then. Why didn't you bring your granddaughter back too? The current patriarch of the Snow family remains seated on his fluidic throne floating in the void, his face clouded and his hands clenched. I regret not doing so. At this moment, within the mystical realm, a steamed purple emperor asks the sacred spirit fox, "What about my other children?" Upon hearing this, the sacred spirit fox summons a crystal mirror. Both of your other children have died in the wars. A steamed purple emperor looks stunned, subconsciously holding onto Shuerian, muttering incredulously, "Only Zeroin is left." The esteemed purple emperor's face darkens, remaining silent. The fox spirit of the divine sight, which never errs in its divination, confirms the death of his two sons. They no longer exist in this world. Quickly composing himself, the esteemed purple emperor turns to Shuerian. "We need to expedite our plans. After we pick up your parents, we must find Zeroin immediately. Her situation has now been fully exposed, and I fear many will try to locate her." Shuerian stops her tears, staring at the esteemed purple emperor and nodding affirmatively. The esteemed purple emperor takes a deep breath, staring into the distance as if his gaze could cross space and time to reach his daughter. "Zeroin, hold on. Your parents are coming to save you." At this moment, in another place, the Great Flame Domain is continuously approaching the Holy Demon Domain. Luo Fengyuan looks at the report in front of her, her head aching. Zeroin, however, is somewhat curious. So the so-called primordial demon kingdom is this vast and magnificent. It's really something that you became the Empress. Turning to face Zeroin, Luo Fengyuan says, "If it's a matter of settling things with fists, I really don't have many opponents in the primordial demon kingdom. But why do I feel so nervous when I'm actually returning to my own kingdom? Is it because I've been around Zeroin and know how hard it is to be an Empress?" Before Luo Fengyuan can gather her thoughts, Xiao Tian delivers a chop to the top of her head. "We're going to your homeland. Why are you getting nervous? Come on, pull yourself together." With a few more hits, Luo Fengyuan suddenly feels energized. Zeroin watches this and rubs her temples, thinking this silly cow is beyond help. Just then, the entire continent rumbles, the ground quaking. At this moment, the Great Flame Domain is slowly entering the Holy Demon Domain. Longqiu Daobozi says, "Master Xiao, we have arrived in the Holy Demon Domain." Soon after, everyone reaches the Demon Palace. Xiao Tian starts to lift his visual limitations. Looking at the surrounding scenes, Luo Fengyuan winks at Xiao Tian. "How is it, Brother Xiao? Isn't the scenery of the Holy Demon Domain beautiful?" Xiao Tian snaps back to reality, giving Luo Fengyuan a thumbs up. "It's indeed more beautiful than I imagined." Luo Fengyuan points towards the Grand Palace in the distance. "See over there? That's my imperial city. The Demon Palace is right there." Saying this, Luo Fengyuan moves a little closer to Zeroin. "Zibun, I can generously offer you a place to stay." Upon hearing this, Zeroin nods and directly agrees. "Is that so? Then I would be most honored to accept." Luo Fengyuan is taken aback. "Shouldn't you be playing hard to get and insisting on staying in the Great Flame Dynasty's palace? Why aren't you following the script? You're messing up my plans to show Xiao Tian around and have a nice time, just the two of us." Seeing Luo Fengyuan's puzzled expression, Zeroin huffs. Child's play. Moments later, the group flies towards the imperial city of the primordial demon kingdom. The holy dragon relic floats not far behind them. Longqiu Dao suddenly comes up to Xiao Tian and communicates telepathically. "Master Xiao, have you noticed?" Xiao Tian nods lightly. "By all accounts, with the long history of warfare here, there should be an atmosphere of resentment, killing intent, and even the smell of blood. It's as if the primordial demon kingdom's past battles were fake. Could someone have sensed my arrival and deliberately staged this to mislead me?" Longqiu Dao is speechless. "Master Xiao, the world isn't that malevolent towards you. Stop overthinking." As Xiao Tian senses the sweet atmosphere of the Holy Demon Domain, he wonders how comfortable the beds are in the Demon Palace of the Primordial Demon Kingdom, and whether the food is good. But how should I arrange the territories and people inside the Holy Dragon Relic? Now that the entire domain world is under Luo Fengyuan's rule, and with Zeroin, who has the legitimate imperial bloodline of the human race, there shouldn't be any more trouble. I should finally be able to rest comfortably. What was I just thinking about? It doesn't matter. Relaxing is what's important, thought Xiao Tian. Just as Xiao Tian was lost in thought, Luo Fengyuan suddenly shouted, We're holding a court meeting. Everyone needs to be there in half an hour. After making the announcement, Luo Fengyuan walked straight into the grand hall. Zeroen twitched her lips. Is this how court meetings are usually conducted, in the middle of the afternoon? Moments later, Luo Fengyuan was seated at the center of the hall, with her legs crossed, looking down at the court officials gathered. Beside her was Zeroen, and on the other side was Xiao Tian. The ministers were baffled, but performed the ritual of kneeling and bowing. We greet the holy demon Empress. With her arms crossed and legs propped up, Luo Fengyuan said, I don't have anything special to announce. I mainly have 2 decrees. First, she leaned towards Xiao Tian. This man beside me will be the one and only official prince of the primordial demon kingdom. So forget about any ideas of adding people to my harem. Second, Luo Fengyuan patted Zeroen on the shoulder. This woman here is the empress of the human race's great flame dynasty. She and I are love rivals, but she's also teaching me how to be a good empress. You should all show her some respect when you see her. Waving her hand, Luo Fengyuan concluded, that's all I have to announce. You're dismissed. The ministers looked at each other, confused but united in their blessings. Congratulations, Your Majesty, on finding a wonderful partner and a good friend. We shall take our leave. With the blessings echoing, Luo Fengyuan started to smile. All right. Our matters have been satisfactorily resolved. She winked at Xiao Tian. So how do you feel? Now you're the prince of both the Great Flame Dynasty and the Primordial Demon Kingdom. Xiao Tian looked completely bewildered. What just happened? The court meeting is already over? Zeroen was also puzzled. What were you doing just now? Luo Fengyuan casually replied. Holding a court meeting, of course. Upon hearing this, Zeroen looked somewhat alarmed. Don't tell me that this is how you've always conducted court meetings? Luo Fengyuan frowned. What else? I've already learned so much from you. Haven't I improved? Zeroen was even more shocked. Improved where? Luo Fengyuan answered confidently. This time, I didn't use any force. Zeroen silently looked at the 3 female bodyguards, who nodded back at her, looking helpless. She then massaged her forehead. Luo Fengyuan, can you please shift some nutrients from your chest to your brain? Upon hearing this, Xiao Tian's face flushed. He coughed awkwardly, then turned to Long Qiudao. Shouldn't we consider merging the Great Flame Dynasty, Eastern Flame Kingdom, and Astral Pavilion into the Holy Demon Domain? Long Qiudao was somewhat taken aback. Ha! Yes, we should. He then bowed slightly to Zeroen and Luo Fengyuan. Your Majesties, Prince Xiao, and I will take our leave. Moments later, they floated in the air. Xiao Tian pointed ahead. Long Qiudao, what if I carve out a space here and integrate the Great Flame Dynasty, Eastern Flame Kingdom, and Astral Pavilion? What do you think? Long Qiudao quickly waved his hands. Absolutely not. If you do that, where will the people of these original lands live? Xiao Tian stroked his chin thoughtfully. You make a good point. Does this mean that the domain world itself has some malleability and flexibility? Should we give it a try? With Xiao Tian's terrifying power, the entire Holy Demon Domain was forcibly expanded. He then signaled to Long Qiudao. Indeed, it is malleable. Let's go. Soon, they arrived in the void. Xiao Tian merely reached out his hand and joined the Holy Demon Domain with the Great Flame Dynasty seamlessly. Now we don't have to worry about overcrowding. Long Qiudao was completely dumbfounded. Isn't it said that the stronger your abilities, the more you can elevate your fate and gain the favor of heaven and earth? What happened to the laws of heaven and earth? To the rules? Why does it feel like Xiao Tian just does whatever comes to mind, and it actually works? Later in the evening, inside the sacred hall of the Demon Palace, Xiao Tian was enjoying some hot pot as a reward for himself. Long Qiudao, who was beside him, was somewhat curious. Lord Xiao, with your incredible strength, haven't you ever thought of unifying the various domain worlds? Xiao Tian looked at the hot pot, unifying everything. Too exhausting. Long Qiudao was even more confused. Just because of that? Xiao Tian shook his head. Isn't that enough? Why make life so hard for yourself? Desires that are too big and heavy will only suffocate you. Xiao Tian leaned back in his chair, looking up at the night sky. Unifying the various domain worlds sounds like an ambitious and grand plan. But such grand ambitions are very tiring. I don't like it. Just as Xiao Tian was saying this, there was suddenly loud arguing coming from the entrance of the courtyard. Carlo, this is my daughter. Let go of her. Xia Bun, the one who should let go is you. She's my daughter. However, when the two arguing empresses entered the courtyard, they both showed smiles at Xiao Tian and walked toward him. Following behind them were the guards Lu Yan, the sycophantic Zhongling, and some female bodyguards who acted like nannies. Xiao Yu was distressingly being tugged by both her mothers, almost being pulled out of shape. At this moment, Xiao Tian turned to Long Qiudao. Cold, lifeless things really aren't interesting. What's living is what I like. Xiao Tian then waved his hand. Hold on. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mocking you for being gone. I'm talking about the grand ambitions you mentioned earlier. Long Qiudao didn't argue any further. You're strong. You're right. I'll keep quiet. Ha! The scene changes, and a group of people are gathered around a table enjoying hot pot. It's a very harmonious setting, until Ziruan and Luo Fengyuan start arguing over a piece of meat. Ziruan shouts at Luo Fengyuan. Let go. Lord Xiao is my prince. You don't need to worry about him. Luo Fengyuan retorts. You should let go. I picked this for Xiao brother. Xiao brother is my prince too. Thank you. Just as their disagreement escalates, a pair of chopsticks suddenly snatched the piece of meat they both were aiming for. Xiao Tian then brings it to his mouth. Ziruan and Luo Fengyuan are somewhat stunned. Xiao Tian senses the awkward atmosphere. Should I give it back to you? Hearing this, both empresses simultaneously say, it's fine. Xiao Tian then eats the piece of meat and looks at the night sky. Both empresses by his side. Suddenly, Xiao Tian addresses everyone. Now that the Great Flame Dynasty is successfully located in the Holy Demon Domain and both are unified, should we consider forming an alliance? Make the Great Flame Dynasty and the Primordial Demon Kingdom sister countries. Establishing an Empress alliance. We will each maintain our independence but allow trade between us. Keep major laws consistent and unify travel documents to make travel between the two countries convenient. Luo Fengyuan immediately raises both her hands, eyes shining. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. We could even jointly hold court sessions. When either of us empresses is in need, we can help each other handle court affairs. The next second, Ziruan gives Luo Fengyuan a flick on the forehead and angrily says, Could you be any more outrageous? You're the Empress of the Primordial Demon Kingdom, not me. You wish. You want me to work for you for free? Subsequently, Ziruan drags Luo Fengyuan away. Starting from today, your special Empress training will be doubled. Luo Fengyuan reaches out to Xiao Tian. Xiao brother, save me. Xiao Tian sweats nervously and can only avert his eyes. The moon is really round tonight. The guards on the side even shed tears of emotion. See Empress, we entrust our Empress to you. For the safety and well-being of the Primordial Demon Kingdom's ministers, we're counting on you. The next morning, the cries of street vendors ring out. Come take a look. This is the Green Flame Empress wine, endorsed by both great empresses. And this bottle even has our Primordial Demon Kingdom Empress's handwriting on it. It's priceless. Immediately there's a scramble from the crowd. One Demon Clan citizen bids 200 gold. Another from the Human Clan counters with 300 gold. Then comes a flurry of bids. I bid 500. 600 here. Don't even try. My dad is an official. I bid 800. Not only that, even the livestock raised by Xiao Tian end up on the dinner table. A Demon Clan man takes a bite and immediately praises. So delicious. This is the unique livestock meat from Green Flame Mountain. Another responds. Well, of course. Look who raised them. He's a man of legendary renown, but also very real and present among us. He has a heart and will of the utmost goodness. He has a face that could bewitch all beings. He's also broken through the limits of body cultivators to become the most powerful in history. The Demon Clan man raises both hands. Hi. He is the man behind the union of the two empresses. So tell me, who is he? Children, cheer below. Supreme Benevolent Sugar Baby Deity Xiao Big Prince, Xiao Tian, hearing this, is utterly speechless. Finally, covering his face, he laments. I've failed after all. I just wanted to reverse the embarrassing name from the Great Flame Dynasty side. Why is this so hard? What a calamity! Just then, a figure descends from the sky, heading straight for Xiao Tian. The next second, Xiao Tian is struck by a woman and feels a chill go straight through his heart. Xiao Tian lowers his head to look at the woman lying on top of him. She wears azure blue armor with golden dragon patterns. Compared to the tall figures of Ziruo Yan and Luo Fengyuan, This woman is petite and delicate. Scratching his head, Xiao Tian squints. The woman's silver hair, with a tinge of blue, instantly brings back memories of that rainy night. Identical silver hair. Even the cowlick looks the same. However, her face is entirely different. Not the same person at all. Long Qiu Dao, standing nearby, looks up and observes. The spatial fluctuations suggest that she must have encountered some urgent situation and fled here. Xiao Tian props himself up on his hands and also looks up. Above, the sky looks like a shattered mirror folding in on itself, but is slowly healing. Soon, it's as if nothing happened at all. Suddenly, silver-white dragon scales appear on the woman's body. In places like her neck, forehead, and the backs of her hands, Long Qiu Dao's tone becomes serious. It looks like she was hiding her sacred dragon clan identity earlier. Now that she's unconscious, the distinctive features of the sacred dragon lineage are revealed, and it seems her generation of the sacred dragon clan is a bit different. Xiao Tian, propping himself up to stand, asks Long Qiu Dao, how is it different? Stronger? There's obvious evolution compared to the sacred dragons of my younger days. Long Qiu Dao answers. Long Qiu Dao chuckles. It seems the younger generation of my clan is quite fond of you, Xiao Tian. Even unconscious, she seems close to you. The next moment, Xiao Tian cradles the woman in his arms and prepares to leave. Let's go. Long Qiu Dao is somewhat puzzled. Are you taking her with you? Xiao Tian's tone is a bit melancholic. She might have some connection to me. Do you recognize the scorch marks on her armor? Long Qiu Dao hesitates for a moment, looking at the burn marks on the woman's armor. Indeed, they look like marks from flames, but not charred. They feel more like they've been purified, stripped of their spirituality. It's as if her armor has been weakened. Suddenly, Long Qiu Dao exclaims, it's Luo Empress's Holy Demon Flame. Holy Demon Flame bypasses physical durability, burning flesh, bones, and internal organs, weakening the inner spiritual energy. The Holy Demon clan is extremely rare, and royal family members with the awakened Supreme Holy Demon bloodline are even rarer. Only they can use the Holy Demon Flame. Turning his head, Long Qiu Dao continues, based on the spatial fluctuations earlier, she doesn't seem to come from a faraway place. Thinking it over, Xiao Tian decides, let's go back and ask Luo Fengyuan. Soon, Xiao Tian and Long Qiu Dao arrive in the hall, where Ji Ruoyan and Luo Fengyuan are currently disputing over Xiao Tian's allegiance. Just as their argument reaches an impasse, Xiao Tian greets them, you two are up early today. However, both women are staring intently at the woman under Xiao Tian's arm. Breaking into a cold sweat, Xiao Tian senses trouble. Both Ji Ruoyan and Luo Fengyuan simultaneously demand, Lord Xiao, who is this? Scratching his head, Xiao Tian responds somewhat helplessly, would you believe me if I said she fell from the sky? Ji Ruoyan squints at the woman and says, Luo, do you remember Lord Xiao once mentioned a silver-haired woman who saved him on a rainy night? Assessing the woman again, Ji Ruoyan adds, she seems to be of high status and likely quite wealthy. Ji Ruoyan then makes a fist and offers it to Luo Fengyuan. Temporary truce. Luo Fengyuan bumps her fist back. Understood. At this point, Long Qiu Dao begins to explain to the two empresses, you misunderstand. She is a descendant of my sacred dragon clan. She accidentally fell on Prince Xiao. She bears marks of being attacked by Holy Demon Flame, so Prince Xiao brought her back. Xiao Tian sets the silver-haired dragon woman down on a spirit stone lounge chair in the courtyard. Everyone gathers around. Luo Fengyuan reaches out and touches the woman's dragon horn. Sacred Dragon Clan is extremely rare, almost extinct. This is the first time I've seen one alive. Suddenly, she turns curiously to Ji Ruoyan. What do you think would happen if my holy demon horn collided with her sacred dragon horn? Whose would break? Ji Ruoyan looks at the disappointing Luo Fengyuan and says, can you not think about fighting all the time? Luo Fengyuan pouts, you're no fun. She then reaches over to touch the scorched marks on the armor. These are definitely burns from Holy Demon Flame, but awakening the Supreme Holy Demon bloodline is difficult. She hugs Ji Ruoyan and adds, still, it pales in comparison to her pure human royal bloodline. Ignoring Luo Fengyuan, Ji Ruoyan continues, she must have been through a big battle. Her spiritual energy is greatly depleted, and she has suffered a severe head injury. As she says this, she lifts the woman's head and notes, just as I suspected, there's severe bruising on the back of her head. She was likely attacked from behind while fleeing. Suspicion 1. Her armors. Holy Demon Flame is connected to your Holy Demon clan. Suspicion 2. Did she come here out of chaos, or is there another motive? I lean towards the latter, and it has to do with suspicion one about the Holy Demon Clan. Turning to Xiao Tian, Jiro Yen poses her third suspicion. Is she the woman who saved you? Xiao Tian frantically shakes his head. No, I don't even know her. She just fell out of nowhere and landed on me. Pretending to cough, he adds, luckily, I've recovered quite a bit. Otherwise, with her crashing down in that full armor, I'd probably be in some real trouble. At this point, both Jiro Yen and Luo Fengyuan grasp Xiao Tian's arm, looking somewhat reproachful at Long Qiu Dao. Dragon Mound Elder, it's not about blaming you, but you promised to take good care of Lord Xiao, and now he got hit unexpectedly. What if it wasn't a woman who fell on him, but something else? Luo Fengyuan joins in the blame. Dragon Mound Elder, you didn't keep your word. Long Qiu Dao is speechless, thinking to himself, you're worried about Xiao Tian getting hurt? If a whole realm fell on his head, you should be more concerned about that realm. Xiao Tian places the woman on a bench. As everyone gathers around, the woman with dragon horns suddenly stirs and wakes up. Her name is Dragon Mound Bai Qing. Upon opening her eyes, she finds herself surrounded by unfamiliar faces staring curiously at her. Startled, she abruptly sits up and asks, who are you? Jiro Yen glares at her, you unexpected guest. Falling from the sky and landing on my husband. Luo Fengyuan, standing nearby, quickly interjects. And on my husband as well. Jiro Yen rolls her eyes and pushes away the hand on her shoulder, asking sternly, who are you, and what is your purpose for coming to the Holy Demon Realm? The white-haired dragon lady frowns, holding her forehead as she thinks hard. I am Bai Qing, and I don't remember much else, but there is a name that seems familiar, Luo Tao Tian. Upon hearing this, Luo Fengyuan and her 3 bodyguards' faces dramatically change. Luo Fengyuan exclaims, my father is alive? She rushes forward, grabbing Bai Qing's arm. Who are you? How is my father still alive? And why did he save you? Luo Fengyuan's eyes fill with complex emotions. The name has always been a sore point for her. Dragon Mound Bai Qing shakes her head, showing no resistance. I'm really sorry. I don't remember anything else, just that name. Luo Fengyuan bites her lip, gripping Bai Qing's arm so tightly that the armor makes a cracking noise. Jiro Yen quickly embraces Luo Fengyuan. Calm down, given her current condition, even if you lay hands on her, she won't remember anything. Also, are you sure your father saved her? Listening to Jiro Yan's words, Luo Fengyuan's emotions stabilize somewhat. Suddenly, she snaps her fingers, and a fierce holy demon flame erupts, covering the burn marks on Bai Qing's armor. Moments later, the flame transforms into a fiery net that envelopes Bai Qing. Luo Fengyuan looks pleased, as if she had expected this. She explains to the crowd, this is the holy demon flame my father left to protect her. Even I can't attack her. Faced with this evidence, Bai Qing can only helplessly respond, I'm really sorry, I don't remember anything. At this point, Long Qiu Dao suddenly steps forward, smiling, child, my name is Long Qiu Dao. In some sense, I am your elder. Our sacred dragon clan has exceptional physical constitutions. It's unlikely that you'd lose your memory from a simple blow to the head. I need to look for a reason, but… Just then, Bai Qing interrupts, I need to reveal the dragon spirit, right? Long Qiu Dao looks somewhat surprised. You know, he was wondering how to explain it. Bai Qing remains calm. What I lost seems to be just my past memories, not my knowledge. Subsequently, she closes her eyes. And the next second, a spectral dragon ascends from her body. This is the dragon spirit, the soul of the dragon race. However, the once majestic silver dragon spirit is now covered in alarming patterns as if chained. Long Qiu Dao exclaims in horror, this is the blood curse technique, an ancient spell formed through the sacrifice of flesh and blood. It looks like her memory has been sealed by this curse. Jiro Yen analyzes the situation calmly. If my conjecture is correct, she was being hunted down to be silenced. They didn't want her to spill any information. She turns to Luo Fengyuan, and your father was likely covering for her, even helping her escape. Once she successfully escaped, they could only resort to attacking the back of her head to curse her and keep her from revealing anything. Finally, Jiro Yen looks at Long Qiu Dao, Dragon Mound Elder. How can this curse be broken? Long Qiu Dao keeps his eyes fixed on Bai Qing. This kind of flesh and blood curse uses life as a lamp and flesh as fire. It's everlasting. 2. Break the curse, kill the person who cast it. Xiao Tian, who hasn't spoken for a while, shocks everyone with this statement. People all turn their heads to look at him. He just shrugs, looking impatient. Isn't it simple? If the curse is everlasting, just smash the lamp. Why make a big fuss? Xiao Tian mutters to himself, I haven't even mentioned rebooting yet. Maybe I could give it a try. For a reboot, soul reconfiguration would be necessary. The success rate should be pretty high. Xiao Tian's scrutinizing gaze makes Bai Qing inexplicably nervous. Turning his head to ask Long Qiu Dao, Xiao Tian inquires, is there any kind of elixir that can fully restore a shattered soul? Long Qiu Dao thinks for a moment. The anti-void spirit communication pill indeed has such a miraculous effect. I do have plenty. After all, my body is that of a dragon spirit. Such a pill. He suddenly realizes something is off about Xiao Tian's statement. Wait. Shattered soul? You don't mean what I think you mean, do you? In my hometown, there's a saying, if there's a problem, don't worry. Just reboot, and everything will be fine. Xiao Tian looks at Bai Qing. If we shatter her soul, the flesh and blood curse will have no host, right? Then we restore her soul, and everything's fine. It's basically just a reboot. Long Qiu Dao quickly shakes his head. That won't work. Her dragon spirit is inside her, in a sea of consciousness in her head. Shattering the dragon spirit is no different from killing her. It's simple then. Just blow up her head first, and then heal her, Xiao Tian says. His eyes shining as he looks at Bai Qing. Where should I start? His words shock everyone. What kind of crazy idea is this? The girl is just sitting there, and you want to blow up her head? Actually, it's a very good idea. A calm, melodious voice rings out again. Everyone turns to look at Bai Qing, who is sitting on a spirit stone lounge chair. The silver-haired dragon lady adjusts her posture and leans her head towards Xiao Tian. Please go ahead. This unexpected turn of events leaves everyone speechless with amazement. They never thought that Bai Qing would agree to such an outrageous request. Xiao Tian, hearing her agreement, is overjoyed. Great courage, very decisive. I like it. He starts warming up his fists. Turn a little. This angle is not good. If it's not done properly, it will be difficult to heal later. Okay, I understand. Bai Qing shifts slightly to adjust her angle. I hope this works, so my memories can be restored, and I can find my father. Don't worry. I'll control the strength and angle to make sure it ends painlessly, Xiao Tian assures her. Luo Fengyuan, who is standing beside them, has a flushed face and sultry eyes. This is so thrilling. I want it too. Just as she finishes speaking, she's met with a furious punch from Ziruoyan. Is this the thrill you were talking about? What are you thinking in that silly head of yours? Ziruoyan then turns to Xiao Tian, and you put your fists away. Who came up with this insane idea to blow up someone's head? She then walks up to Bai Qing, grabs her, and lifts her up. And are you an idiot for agreeing to this? The truth might be in my memories, and the curse on the dragon spirit could potentially attract unnecessary enemies. Bai Qing, who's lifted off the ground by the tall Empress Ziruoyan, maintains her calm demeanor and analyzes. Finding a way to break the curse immediately not only could reveal the truth, but also help us avoid unnecessary danger. Though the method is risky, it's a gamble worth taking considering the outcome. Seeing Bai Qing's determined face, Xiao Tian also nods continuously. He pats Long Qiu Dao who's beside him. Anyway, Long Qiu Dao has many potent elixirs, so it should be fine. Shut up, Ziruoyan says with a dark face, glancing at Xiao Tian. This scares Xiao Tian and Long Qiu Dao into a shiver, both of them falling silent immediately. There's an old saying that the two most terrifying creatures on earth are an angry mother and a stern wife. Truly, the intimidation is real. At this moment, Ziruoyan looks at Bai Qing and shakes her head. This method is too risky. It's not worth gambling with your life for no reason. Upon hearing this, Bai Qing immediately gives Ziruoyan a good person card, saying, You are indeed a very good person. If this works, there's at least a 70% chance. Even 70% is not acceptable. Let's think of other ways. Ziruoyan interrupts, grabbing Bai Qing's chin. I'm declaring, not discussing. Do you understand, young lady? Bai Qing responds, based on the age we appear to be, calling me young lady is not appropriate, and pushes Ziruoyan's hand away. This leaves Ziruoyan stunned for a moment, who then looks closely at Bai Qing. This of yours is so small. Are you even 20? For the first time, Bai Qing shows some emotion. She glances down, then looks up at Ziruoyan. She points to Luo Fengyuan in front of her. You shouldn't be surprised by this. Luo Fengyuan burst into laughter upon hearing this. Someone really shot themselves in the foot. Ziruo Yan's mouth twitches in annoyance, looking at Ziruo Yan. But you don't need to be so sensitive. Overall, you're still very beautiful. I'm not sensitive, Ziruo Yan retorts. Zhong Yangming quickly interrupts. Regardless of whether it's for Her Majesty Luo or for her own sacred dragon clan identity, she must stay here. So, what should we do with this young lady from the Dragon Mound? Before anyone can respond, the girl suddenly stands up and goes over to Xiao Tian, sniffing him as if no one else exists. What are you doing? Xiao Tian asks, puzzled. Unexpectedly, the girl floats up the next second, and licks Xiao Tian's cheek. Ziruo Yan and Luo Fengyuan are immediately stunned, and everyone else's eyes widen, shocked beyond words by her audacious action, especially in front of two empresses. Long Qiu Dao, your descendant sure is bold, someone remarks. The girl suddenly hugs Xiao Tian's neck and says to everyone, I want to stay by his side. I don't know why, but it feels very comfortable next to him. He even smells nice. Very sweet. She feels that not only are her injuries healing faster when she's with Xiao Tian, but even her dragon's aura is gradually increasing. Seeing the two of them so intimate, Ziruo Yan instantly loses her temper, clenching her fists and yelling, Scoundrel! Get off Xiao brother right now! She attempts to pull the girl away, but the girl clings to Xiao Tian, explaining calmly, being by his side right now is the best choice for both healing and sensory reasons. Please forgive me, but I can't leave his side. Suddenly, Luo Fengyuan, perhaps thinking she's missing out on something, excitedly rushes forward and blurts, Wait, I want to lick, too. If I weren't so busy, I'd smack you with a hammer. Ziruo Yan retorts, What are you doing? Help me pull her off. Finally snapping out of it, Luo Fengyuan helps Ziruo Yan try to pull the girl away. Meanwhile, Xiao Tian stands there, utterly confused, watching the three women struggling. What's going on here, puppy? Do I have some healing abilities or something? The system puppy then explains, Bai Qin comes from the sacred dragon lineage, an emperor-level sacred dragon bloodline, and you, master, are a descendant of dragons. It makes sense for someone of the sacred dragon lineage to be drawn to you. Your body has been getting stronger, and her being around you will also help her become stronger. Hearing this, Xiao Tian is rendered speechless. So my body is still being strengthened? When will it ever stop? I'm sorry, master, but I can't detect any limits to your physical strength at the moment. However, please be patient. Once your body is fully strengthened, you'll be able to start training. Xiao Tian is somewhat surprised. So I can actually start training? I thought I'd be a regular person my entire life. Just then, Luo Fengyuan suddenly shouts, Hey, why are you being so gentle? Just get physical. As soon as the words leave her mouth, Xiao Tian sees Luo Fengyuan suddenly deliver a high kick, aiming her heel down harshly at the girl. The girl's pupils dilate, and electric lights seem to shimmer in her eyes. A golden thunder's power suddenly manifests, and in an instant, the girl flickers to stand behind Xiao Tian. Luo Fengyuan's kick misses entirely. Ziruo Yan then brings her two fingers together, forming a long sword from her concentrated energy. Be careful not to hurt Lord Xiao, he still hasn't fully recovered from the aftereffects of his last outburst. Luo Fengyuan grins, her eyes full of excitement. Don't worry, I promise I won't. When two empresses join forces, she won't be able to dodge. The girl remains silent, still clinging to Xiao Tian's neck while her body sparkles with electric light. Watching the two charged-up Empress wives, Xiao Tian sighs internally. I'm just an innocent bystander. Can you not involve me? The two empresses lock eyes and whisper, Let's go in together. Immediately, Ziruo Yan and Luo Fengyuan simultaneously attack. Swordsman kicks fly, but the girl nimbly avoids them while sticking close to Xiao Tian. Neither can land a hit on her. Annoyed, Luo Fengyuan mutters, This damn white hair, why is she as slippery as an eel? In a sudden motion, Luo Fengyuan spins her body and launches another kick at the girl. At the same time, Ziruo Yan also spins around, and the two, sticking close to each other, accidentally direct their attack towards Xiao Tian. Xiao Tian, who had been passively watching the spectacle, suddenly finds himself the unintended target. Both Luo Fengyuan and Ziruo Yan are horrified and quickly shout for him to dodge. We can't stop it. However, Xiao Tian, with a twitching smile at the corner of his mouth, prepares to catch the incoming attack. He knows he can't dodge, otherwise they'll surely fall to the ground. But who could have known that in the next second? Thunder manifests. The girl who had been clinging to Xiao Tian suddenly blocks the front, enduring both attacks hidden. The flickering lightning around her acts like two twisting vortexes, absorbing all their attacks. The girl lets out a pained grunt, clenching her teeth, but still, she can't help but spit out a mouthful of blood onto the ground. Upon seeing this, the faces of Ziruo Yan and Luo Fengyuan instantly change. They rush forward to support the girl, but she speaks up. Thank you both. Spitting out that stagnant blood actually makes me feel much better. Luo Fengyuan frowns, but it seems like your injuries have worsened. Ziruo Yan is also concerned. Why didn't you fight back? Why didn't you dodge earlier? The girl softly shakes her head. When you decided to take me in, that was an act of kindness. Therefore, I can't raise a hand against you. As for not dodging, you mentioned that he hasn't fully recovered from his aftereffects. He couldn't have withstood that attack. Based on my calculations, enduring the blow could help circulate my energy. So, absorbing the attack was the best outcome. She speaks these words with a calm demeanor. However, as she talks, fresh blood continues to flow from the corner of her mouth, making her look somewhat frightening. For a moment, everyone is silent. How is she able to calmly analyze the situation while spitting out blood? This doesn't seem related to her amnesia caused by some curse, does it? At this point, Zhongling in the corner is the first to react. Quickly, treat her wounds. She's bleeding. Non-stop. What are you all staring at? Hearing this, everyone scrambles into action, picking her up and hurrying. She is then laid down on a spirit stone lounge chair. Long Qiu Dao takes out a bottle and pours out some elixirs, but the girl takes one look at them and speaks again. Taking an elixir is not as effective as staying close to him. Zhongli. Huang is somewhat confused upon hearing this, and looks at Xiao Tian curiously. What's the logic behind that? Xiao Yu floats onto Xiao Tian's shoulder and spreads her little hands, reminding them, it's true. Being near Daddy is very comfortable. Haven't you all noticed? Upon hearing this, Zhongling and the others remember that their cultivation speeds seemed to increase significantly whenever they were near Xiao Tian. Even the two empresses, when dealing with official documents, could easily resolve complicated issues as long as Xiao Tian was present. With this thought, everyone in the room starts to look at Xiao Tian intently, feeling somewhat embarrassed under the scrutiny. Xiao Tian suddenly hears Luo Fengyuan propose a theory. Didn't Brother Xiao once mention that he ate something that helped him break his limitations? Could it be that this heavenly treasure is incredibly potent, and is fused with his flesh and blood, radiating its benefits to those around him, like a mobile elixir? Zhongling claps her hands in sudden realization. You're right, Your Majesty Luo. No wonder she wanted to lick Prince earlier. Xiao Tian stands there, completely baffled, a series of question marks filling his mind. Scene changes. Xiao Tian and his three companions are eating hot pot. Ziruo Yan speaks earnestly to the girl. Firstly, due to the matter concerning her father and your health condition, it's settled that you will stay. However, I won't feel comfortable leaving you near Lord Xiao. No one can guarantee whether you have ulterior motives. The girl nods at Ziruo Yan's suspicions. Your doubts are reasonable. Even I can't assure whether I was good or bad before my memory loss. Ziruo Yan seems to breathe a sigh of relief at her understanding, giving a slight nod. It's good that you understand. Starting from today, I will officially move to Prince's palace and live with you. If something happens to you, I'm afraid I'll live the rest of my life in regret. Xiao Tian feels a bit helpless. Here she goes again. Why does Ziruo Yan always have to make grand overtures? Is she testing my tolerance? At his side, Luo Fengyuan's eyes widen with barely suppressed rage. Damn it! The Great Flame Empress is truly cunning. She must have been planning to move into Prince's residence for a long time. Luo Fengyuan suddenly slaps the table. No, I must move there as well. Ziruo Yan, seemingly expecting this reaction, casually picks up a piece of lettuce and asks, why does the Holy Demon Empress want to move in? Isn't my presence sufficient? Gritting her teeth, Luo Fengyuan replies, she knows something about my father. What if she suddenly remembers the past? I need to be the first to know any news concerning my father. So I have to be near her. Saying this, Luo Fengyuan dips some boiled vegetables into a sauce and then puts them into her mouth. Ziruo Yan follows suit. The girl watches them in awe. So that's how you're supposed to eat it. No wonder it tasted so salty when I tried to drink it. What should I do now? Can I ask for another serving of sauce? Ziruo Yan pays no attention to the girl's thoughts and snorts at Luo Fengyuan. Your mind seems to be working better these days. No wonder your chest has gotten smaller lately. Not to be outdone, Luo Fengyuan retorts, really? Seems like someone is just too jealous and keeps an eye on others. Hearing this, Ziruo Yen doesn't bother with more words. With a loud bang, she slams a jug of wine onto the table. Whoever loses, go back to your own palace. Luo Fengyuan also produces a jug of wine. Her eyes ablaze. Bring it on. Who's afraid of whom? The battle of the two empresses erupts. Again. Meanwhile, the girl on the side finds a solution. She pours both empresses' dipping sauces into her own bowl and starts to eat voraciously. Even as the two empresses argue and drink, contesting each other jug for jug, she continues to eat as if nothing else matters, thoroughly enjoying her meal. Xiao Tian looks at the three with a helpless expression. It hasn't been that long since our last drinking contest, and now we're at it again? A sense of nostalgia comes over me. Soon, the courtyard is littered with empty wine jugs. Xiao Tian is holding Ziruo Yen while the girl supports Luo Fengyuan. The four of them head toward the inner chamber. A moment later, the two empresses are placed on the bed and embrace each other again. Xiao Tian can't help but sigh. Back to the same old routine. Just then, a loud burp echoes from the side. The girl looks embarrassed. The food was really good. I haven't had such a satisfying meal in a very long time, so I may have overindulged. My apologies. Xiao Tian waves his hand dismissively. If you enjoyed it, then eat as much as you like. It's just a small amount of money for the food. I control the household finances, after all. He gives a thumbs up, looking proud. Though she's not sure what he's so proud of, the girl quietly says thank you. Please get some rest. After saying this, the girl sits down cross-legged and closes her eyes, entering into a state of meditation. Not wanting to waste words, Xiao Tian immediately slaps her, knocking her out, and then carries her to a recliner. I don't know what you've been through before, but a good night's sleep is important. You don't need to be on guard here. Just then, Xiao Tian suddenly feels something is off. Behind him, the two women, their eyes shimmering with intelligence, are glaring at him intently. The next moment, the inner chamber is filled with the sounds of Xiao Tian's discarded clothing and his painful wails. Calm down, both of you. Don't tear my clothes. Just because I don't hit women doesn't mean you can get out of control when you're drunk. Wait, don't. Stay away. Xiao Tian sits shivering in the corner of the bed, while Ziruo and Luo Fengyuan look at him as if he were a little Red Riding Hood, and they were wolves, almost drooling. After a three-way battle of sorts, they all fall into a deep, exhausted sleep. Meanwhile, in the chaotic void outside the Holy Demon Realm, a portion of space suddenly distorts. A grand and rugged black warship violently forces its way through the distortion. The entire ship seems to be constructed from an unknown black wood. Boss, it looks like we've reached the Holy Demon Realm, says a figure, standing on the deck of the warship, surrounded by others who are similarly towering and strong. Each one is about 2 meters tall, their skin adorned with blood-colored patterns, and they emanate a strong smell of blood. According to the star maps we've captured, this should be the place. I didn't expect our pursuit would lead us all the way here. His deputy, rubbing his bald head, looks at a book in his hand emitting fluctuating spiritual energy. Something feels off. The dimensions here seem to be more circular, bigger. There's a slight discrepancy with our star maps. Yes, send out a scout team to get a sense of the place. It would be best to capture someone valuable for questioning. Let Squad 10 handle it. They're not too powerful, won't startle the enemy. As he says this, he continues to gaze at the Holy Demon Realm. Ahead. We've paid a high price to get here. We must capture Luo Taotian and Baiqing. Meanwhile, back at Prince's palace, Baiqing opens her eyes and sits up. Appearing somewhat dazed, she remembers that she was meditating and feels as if she was knocked out. Thinking this, Baiqing quickly rolls over and stands up, scanning her surroundings. The room is in disarray, with unidentifiable rags all over the floor. You're awake, a voice says, lifting her head. Baiqing sees Xiao Tian making the bed, dressed in new clothes. Baiqing nods gently and looks around, asking, was there a thief here yesterday? Xiao Tian finishes making the bed and sighs. We had a fight yesterday, so it's a bit messy. A fight? Baiqing thinks for a moment and shakes her head. Although we haven't known each other long, it seemed like everyone got along well last night. I can't imagine you'd fight. Xiao Tian leans on his waist and says, the deeper the relationship, the fiercer the fights. You probably wouldn't understand. Hearing this, Baiqing looks puzzled, but Xiao Tian doesn't offer any further explanation. He simply says, those who understand, understand. No need to spell it out. Bai Qing picks up a torn piece of silk from the floor, stained with blood, and furrows her brow. Is this from tending to wounds? I can't believe your arguments get so heated. Yes, the battle was intense. You could call it domestic violence, says Xiao Tian as he snatches the silk from her and stores it away. This kind of thing sets a bad example for the children. It seems being the consort to an empress isn't easy. Bai Qing notes. Xiao Tian nods and walks over to the window with a steaming cup of tea. It's not easy, especially when it's 2 against 1. I can't win. He sips his tea and adds, too bad this world doesn't have goji berries, but I have green flame pigs. I'll ask Zhong Yangming to make some stir-fried kidney. That should solve everything. Decided, he runs off, reminding Bai Qing to stay in the Prince's palace and to not wander off. Confused, Bai Qing asks if something happened. I have some business to attend to. Just stay put. There's no point in wandering around. With that, Xiao Tian runs off, leaving Bai Qing to ponder. No point, huh? Upon reflection, that seems true. Bai Qing looks around the empty hall and stands alone for a long time before sitting down in a cross-legged position to meditate. After the formation of the Empress'S Alliance, there are 2 joint court meetings every month. These meetings are jointly hosted by the Great Flame Dynasty and the Primordial Demon Kingdom to discuss matters of mutual concern. Naturally, they are held at a location on the border of the 2 territories, in a temporary Empress Hall built in front of the Prince's palace. At this moment, the 2 empresses exchange glances in the hall. How about it? Shall we continue tonight? Ziban, this time, I want to go first. Xiao Tian sneezes from a distance. Who's talking? About me? Early in the morning, Xiao Tian finds his chef Zhong Yangming preparing to order stir-fried kidneys and roasted lamb kidneys. Before he can order more, Zhong Yangming interrupts. Prince, how about I make you a complete nourishing feast? 10 dishes that will absolutely rejuvenate you. Looking at the chef's frail appearance, Xiao Tian can't help but wonder. Are you sure? Will it be effective? Zhong Yangming looks dead serious. Yes, Prince, rest assured. I've tried it. Recalling Zhong Yangming's wife, Zhong Lisuang, Xiao Tian instantly understands. When it comes to nourishment, probably nobody is more authoritative than Zhong Yangming, this heavy, armored cavalry. Thinking this, Xiao Tian suddenly puts his arm around Zhong Yangming's neck. Speaking of which, after training in martial arts with me, you must be doing much better, right? Zhong Yangming smiles ambiguously. All thanks to your excellent teaching, Prince. Things have been much easier recently. All right, prepare yourself. I'm taking you to Green Flame Mountain, says Xiao Tian, preparing to leap. But just then, Zhong Yangming suddenly frowns and yells, Prince, someone's coming. In the next second, whooshing sounds fill the air, and almost instantly, 4 bald men in armor surround them. Zhang Yitsun focuses on the 2. According to our information, the Holy Demon Realm is ruled by the Primordial Demon Kingdom. One of you is the Prime Minister, and the other a prince. You should have a lot of information. Zhang Yitsun slowly approaches and gestures, Gentlemen, if you don't want any trouble, please come with us. Xiao Tian and Zhong Yangming follow the direction indicated and see a UFO. Its massive body is hovering up and down. Xiao Tian is baffled. Is this an alien? Zhong Yangming is equally surprised. What on earth is that? Where did these people and this weird thing come from? Never seen it before. While the 2 are still bewildered, Zhang Yitsun steps forward and looks down on them, sneering, Don't make any futile resistance. Otherwise, all you'll face is despair. Zhong Yangming becomes irritated and suddenly produces a talisman in his hand. Who will be the one to despair remains to be seen. Emperor's Sword. Energy. Go! As soon as Zhong Yangming's words fall, the talisman absorbs spiritual energy and instantly transforms into a golden sword energy, charging towards Zhang Yitsun. In an instant, the sword energy hits Zhang Yitsun, but doesn't affect him due to the blood-red runes on his armor that burst into fearsome energy. What a pathetic attack. Zhang Yitsun brushes the dust off himself, shakes his head at the frail-looking Zhong Yangming, and says, Seems like you really can't heed my advice, inferior human race. Then, Zhang Yitsun turns around and walks towards the spaceship, ordering his men, break his legs and take him and Prince Xiao Tian with us for further orders. But just as he takes 2 steps, a team member calls out, Captain, something seems off. All the bald men look horrified and involuntarily take a step back, but a towering shadow still envelopes them. Zhang Yitsun, annoyed by his team member's words, asks, What do you mean? They're just humans. What's there to be scared of? Turning his head, his pupils instantly contract. Oh shit, that's terrifying. Zhong Yangming has somehow transformed into a giant, nearly 30 feet tall, covered in explosive muscles. He's staring intently at Zhang Yitsuan, and even his casual breathing emits a mist that seems like clouds in motion. Zhong Yangming exudes an incredibly terrifying aura, leaning his explosive physique forward, clenching his fists. He looks at Zhang Yitsuan and says, "Inferior human race? That's an interesting way to put it. Then show me what you've got, and let's see how you make this Prime Minister despair. What do you say, little sprout?" Seeing his subordinates shaking in fear, Zhang Yitsuan hastily shouts, "Don't panic. Stay calm." His aura is only at the 10th level. It's just his size that's intimidating. Taking a deep breath, he pats his subordinate's shoulder. Backing down before fighting isn't the Blood Moon clan style. With that, Zhang Yitsuan's body starts to inflame as his form enlarges, and his aura climbs rapidly, reaching level 13. Encouraged by Zhang Yitsuan, his team members also roar as their body muscles swell, and blood-colored runes flash. Zhang Yitsuan takes the lead, charging at Zhong Yangming at an explosive speed, attacking him relentlessly with the blood blades on his armor. His team follows suit, their previous fear forgotten. Surrounded and attacked from all sides, Zhong Yangming can't dodge in time. Enraged, he snorts, his body tightens, and the wounds inflicted by the blood blades immediately start to heal. Zhong Yangming then coldly sneers, "Jumping monkeys, weren't you going to make this Prime Minister despair? Let's have a face-to-face battle then." Without further ado, he lunges forward, his massive form almost overshadowing everything. Two of the bald men don't even have time to dodge, and are smashed into the ground by his giant, stone-like fists. They collectively gasp, "Is this even a human?" Zhong Yangming clenches his fists again, visibly irritated. The Great Flame Dynasty has just stabilized, and the Empress' combined primordial demon kingdom is still in the making. Who are these crawling creatures daring to stir up trouble? Zhang Yitsuan roars in anger. How can a mere human be this strong? Ignoring his outburst, Zhong Yangming takes a deep breath, steadying his stance according to the stances he learned while training with Xiao Tian. His right fist expands as he yells, "Giant Spirit Fist." With that, Zhang Yitsuan is sent flying, feeling as if his body is falling apart. However, as he flies backward, a cunning smile crosses his face. "You fell for it." Using the momentum from Zhong Yangming's strike, he flips and lands beside Xiao Tian, holding the blood blade against Xiao Tian's neck. "Prime Minister, don't make any rash moves. If my blade slips, you won't be able to complete your mission for your majesty." Xiao Tian looks emotionless at the blade against his neck, then turns to Zhong Yangming, who has stopped at a distance, and says, "What are you looking at me for? Keep fighting. Why do I have to do everything? What's the point of your martial arts training?" He even yawns out of boredom. Zhang Yitsuan is dumbfounded. This guy really has some nerve. Seeing Xiao Tian looking at him, Xiao Tian raises a nut in his hand. "Want some?" Zhang Yitsuan is completely stunned. Does he even realize the situation he's in? At this moment, Zhong Yangming nods and says, "I understand." In the next second, his aura erupts again as he charges directly at Zhang Yitsuan. Frightened, Zhang Yitsuan hastily shouts, "Stop. Don't you care if this man lives or dies?" Seeing him not stopping, Zhang Yitsuan grits his teeth and roars, "You forced my hand. It's all your fault." Then he swings his blade toward Xiao Tian's neck. There's a loud clanging sound, and Zhang Yitsuan is shocked. He can clearly feel the pain in his arm and sees that his arm is bent at a 90-degree angle, broken by the impact. Unable to bear the pain, Zhang Yitsuan cries out and crouches on the ground, trembling. Xiao Tian continues eating his nuts, glancing at Zhang Yitsuan, who's kneeling on the ground. "You're a strange one. What's the point of self-harm?" Zhang Yitsuan looks at Xiao Tian's neck. Not even a scratch. What the hell is this guy? His teammates are equally horrified. Our boss's blade was ineffective against that waste. Seizing the opportunity, Zhong Yangming throws a hard punch at them. "You guys actually get distracted during a fight?" The intense wind from the punch makes their eyelids twitch. Meanwhile, Xiao Tian spits out a nutshell. "You guys are really resilient. Your recovery ability is pretty scary too. Are you a body cultivator?" Zhang Yitsuan looks at the nutshell that landed on him, his mouth twitching. He quickly retreats, but as he lands at a distance, Xiao Tian appears beside him like a ghost, spitting out another nutshell. "Why are you ignoring my question? How can you, as a body cultivator, break through the 10th level?" Zhang Yitsuan freezes on the spot. Something's wrong. What's up with this Xiao Tian? Being physically strong is one thing, but why is he so fast too? Could he be a 16th level expert or higher? Thinking of this, Zanison suddenly thrusts his hand into his chest, shouting, "Everyone burn the blood crystals!" Pulls out a fiery red crystal. His teammates cry out in disbelief. "Captain?" Zanison gives them a wry smile, filled with a hint of apology. "We have no choice. We can't go back alive anyway. Our only option now is to take them down with us." Saying this, he turns to look at Xiao Tian, his face gradually becoming ferocious. "I admit you're strong. But it doesn't matter. You can't stop this thing." As he speaks, Zanison hasn't noticed that the object has disappeared from his hand. Xiao Tian holds up the blood crystal and examines it. "You say this thing is dangerous?" Zanison is completely dumbfounded. "When was it taken?" The next second, Xiao Tian lifts his head and puts the blood crystal into his mouth, swallowing it whole. "Damn it," Zanison thinks. "This is something that even 18th level experts would be blown up by instantly. How could he just swallow it?" A moment later, a muffled explosion sound emanates from Xiao Tian's belly. Unconcerned, Xiao Tian pats his stomach, and then suddenly opens his mouth to belch. Red smoke sprays out from his mouth. Xiao Tian looks thrilled. "Oh, that feels great. The moment it entered my mouth, it was like taking a shot of strong liquor, followed by an explosive burning sensation. But far from causing pain, it felt like my organs got a warm, vibrating massage. This thing is great. Definitely a high-quality snack." Saying this, Xiao Tian looks at Zanison with a face full of anticipation. "Got any more? Give me another 100. Zanison stares at Xiao Tian in disbelief, unable to speak for a long time. Our clan's ultimate weapon. Something that would obliterate everything in a 100-mile radius, and dissipate all the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. How did it turn into a unique-tasting snack in his mouth? Isn't this bullying the honest people?" Zan Yangming, who is standing nearby, holds on to other members of the Blood Wound clan. "Prince, are you alright?" Xiao Tian dismisses it with a wave of his hand. "I'm fine." Upon hearing this, Zan Yangming tosses the people he's holding like trash onto the ground, glaring at them. These people are troublesome and seem very special. They're actually body cultivators. Zanison looks at his captured subordinates, despair filling his face. "It seems we're doomed." Just then, Xiao Tian suddenly turns serious and looks at Zan Yangming, Prime Minister Zan. "From earlier until now, I've noticed something serious." Zan Yangming, who just returned to his original form, immediately becomes anxious upon hearing Xiao Tian's words. "Prince, what's the matter?" Zanison is even more nervous on the side. "Could it be that our void battleship stationed outside the void has been discovered by this monster? If that's the case, our leader and others would be in danger." Who knew that the next second, Xiao Tian would point at Zan Yangming and shout, "First of all, your entrance pose was not cool enough. What was that crouch about? You should have been sitting, one arm on your leg, and the other propping up your slightly tilted head." Looking down on them coldly, Xiao Tian speaks as if he's very serious about this matter. "Also, Giant Spirit Fist isn't a cool enough name. I've thought of a better one. Raising Arm of Divine Tyranny across the skies." As he says this, Xiao Tian suddenly turns to Zanison. "By the way, what race are you guys?" Before Zanison could snap out of his daze, he hears the question and becomes even more stupefied. Xiao Tian immediately slaps him. Under a precise control of force, Zanison spins like a top at high speed. Xiao Tian narrows his eyes slightly and a terrifying aura of murderous intent begins to fill the air. "I was just talking. Why weren't you paying attention? Are you plotting something?" Zanison, who's been slapped into a daze, finally mumbles. "We are the Blood Rune clan." Xiao Tian smiles slightly. "Well, in that case, this punch shall be named the Titanic Divine Sky-Dominating Blood Rune Annihilating Fist. What do you think?" He looks at Zan Yangming with confidence. Zan Yangming can only awkwardly smile and say, "Very good. Indeed a great name." Xiao Tian continues to give his insights. "Some of your moves earlier were also incorrect. Your battle experience is still lacking. For instance, you wasted too much power, and some aspects of your attacks were not smooth enough." Zan Yangming probably takes out a notebook to jot down the pointers, feeling deeply impressed inside. No wonder Prince Xiao is so skilled in combat. Truly, a learning experience. However, he wonders, just what has Prince Xiao been through to have developed such intricate attacking techniques? With that thought, Zan Yangming lets out a wistful sigh. After giving a few key points, Xiao Tian says, "Alright, that's enough for now. Digest what you've learned." Upon hearing this, Zhan Yangming quickly bows. "Prince, I'll pay attention next time." Xiao Tian frowns. "What do you mean next time? Why not right now? It's still early. There's plenty of time." Saying this, Xiao Tian suddenly takes out a bottle of elixir pills. He walks up to the severely injured members of the Blood Wound clan and feeds each one a pill. In no time the men look at themselves in disbelief, feeling completely refreshed as if all their injuries have healed. At this moment, Xiao Tian claps his hands to get everyone's attention. "Alright, let's do it all over again. Starting from the point where you all noticed him gathering energy within his body. Preparing to fight, you guys need to act panicked and scared, like the first time you saw him. Don't look all dumb and numb. This is your chance for redemption." The members of the Blood Wound clan are puzzled. What's going on? Is this guy a director or what? Seeing their lack of cooperation, Xiao Tian feels a wave of anger rise within him. He throws a powerful punch, instantly smashing the member who was just standing there looking stunned. He then yells at the remaining people. "What kind of expression is that? I'm giving you an opportunity here, and you're not even taking this rehearsal seriously. You're beyond redemption." Everyone is stunned by the imposing aura exuded by Xiao Tian. The giant from earlier took ages to beat us into severe injuries, but this guy obliterated us with a single slap without even any fluctuation in spiritual energy. This is too terrifying. Better cooperate. Perhaps we could still survive and go back home to our families. Quickly, the first trial begins. Just as Zhong Yangming is about to throw a punch, he hears Xiao Tian shout, "Cut! Blood Wound clan, I need serious expressions from you. Fear, understand, be afraid. Let's do it again." On the fourth take, Zhong Yangming is in the middle of chasing the members. Xiao Tian speaks again, "Cut! Zhong Yangming, pay attention to what's behind you, not just who you're chasing in front. Be aware of your surroundings. Let's do it again." By the sixth take, Zhong Yangming is beating up the members of the Blood Wound clan, who are wailing and begging for mercy. Finally, on the seventh take, one of the bald members can't take it anymore. The high-pressure environment and humiliation break him. After letting out a roar, he raises his hands and slams them onto his own head. His skull shatters, his soul leaves the body, but he has a relieved and satisfied expression on his face. However, Xiao Tian takes out another medicine bottle and encouragingly says, "Escaping won't solve the problem. Facing it courageously is the only way to redeem yourself." As he speaks, Xiao Tian forcefully shoves two elixir pills into the man's mouth. The soul that was on the verge of ascending to the heavens suddenly halts, sensing that something is terribly wrong. The next moment, the medicine takes effect. His injuries heal rapidly, and his departing soul is violently pulled back, causing him to scream, "Let me go! Let me die! Please! Don't revive me!" No matter how much he struggles, it's futile. The man who was about to die suddenly sits up, gasping for air as if he just woke up from a nightmare. Xiao Tian then pats him reassuringly on the shoulder. "Don't give up. I believe you can do it." The bald man's lips are trembling. Even though Xiao Tian is smiling at this moment, he still feels terrified. "Why won't they let me die with dignity?" Shaken to his core, the bald man seems to lose his mind, mumbling, "It's karma. All karma. I was wrong. I shouldn't have set foot on an invading warship." Xiao Tian clenches his fist and shouts, "Stop playing dead. Let's do it again. Everyone remember, this is not a rehearsal. Zhong Yangming, begin." After several more attempts, the whole valley is a mess. Jia Nixin suddenly kneels on the ground, sobbing wildly, "I was wrong. Truly wrong. I shouldn't have invaded. Shouldn't have taken joy in slaughtering humans." While crying, he beats his chest and stomps his feet. Finally, he looks up towards the sky, his eyes empty. Moments later, there's no sign of life left in him. His soul completely disintegrates. Xiao Tian looks at Jia Nixin, who has lost all hope of survival, and sighs. Why can't they even withstand such a minor test? Zhong Yangming starts to analyze, with a serious face. "At least, we can confirm that the Bloodroom clan are body cultivators. However, unlike the body cultivator realm, they can break through to higher levels. Also, what is the background of this Bloodroom clan? Why did they suddenly visit the Holy Demon realm? What's their purpose? Although their cultivation system is much weaker compared to the martial arts techniques you've taught, it's still very unique. What's the objective here?" Just as he says this, Xiao Tian turns his head leisurely, only to suddenly freeze. The entire valley falls into silence. Only he and Zhong Yiming are left standing. All the Blood Room clan warriors have turned into lifeless corpses. Their souls vanished into oblivion. Zhong Yiming falls silent for a moment before finally speaking. Prince, you've gone too far. You've left none alive. Xiao Tian shakes his head. You're mistaken. It's not that I went too far. It's that they had something to hide and couldn't bear the pressure. They were probably plotting something against me and feared that I would see through it. With that said, Xiao Tian takes a couple of steps forward and places his hand on Zhang Yisen's head. That's why they couldn't focus earlier and lost their chance to survive. With a slight exertion of force, Zhang Yisen's body instantly turns into ashes. At that moment, Xiao Tian suddenly spots a flying boat hovering in the sky. Zhong Yiming also looks up and, after pondering for a moment, says, these criminals from the Blood Room clan have wasted your time. You even went to the trouble of teaching them how to be good and had to personally rehearse with them. Labor fees, tuition, emotional distress. A mere flying boat will surely not be enough. With that, Zhong Yiming hands over their storage rings to Xiao Tian. Prince, with these, I think many people in the Holy Demon Realm facing difficulties will be helped. This is not war spoils. It's charity and good deeds. Xiao Tian looks at Zhong Yiming, surprised and pleased by his enlightened thinking. He reaches out to tightly grasp Zhong Yiming's hand, somewhat excitedly telling him, you've finally understood. I am not alone in my path. Just a moment ago, after Xiao Tian wiped out everyone from the Blood Room clan, he blew a breath over the valley, lifting up the entire valley's ground. After all, cleaning up the battlefield is everyone's responsibility to protect the environment. Immediately afterwards, Xiao Tian took Zhong Yiming into the captured spaceship. It was even more spacious than expected. It was controlled by magic arrays and powered by many huge spirit stones. Xiao Tian sat in the main seat, yawned, and ordered Puppy, control the spaceship's array. Go to Green Flame Mountain to get a green flame pig, then return to Prince's palace. Puppy obediently replied, yes, master. Then, he patted Zhong Yiming on the shoulder. You've worked hard before. Go get a green flame pig later. Cook it for me to replenish my strength. Zhong Yiming awkwardly smiled. He could be touched by even a single wrong word, but he still obediently said, all right, Prince. No problem. Very soon. Under the spaceship's rapid speed, the two caught a pig and returned above Prince's palace. Puppy told Xiao Tian, Master, we have arrived. Xiao Tian got up and stretched. I'll have someone modify this spaceship later. It can totally serve as a means of transportation. It's best to find the people from the Blood Room clan and make them compensate us for our losses. Just then, Puppy suddenly notified, Master, Bai Qing is approaching. Xiao Tian was initially indifferent. So what if she's approaching? What does it matter? But the next second, a roar of thunder came from far and near. The spaceship's floor was suddenly smashed open. This white-haired little dragon lady just came in by smashing her head through. Both Xiao Tian and Zhong Yiming were shocked. Is this girl also starting to make dramatic entrances? But before the two could react, Bai Qing smashed through the top of the spaceship again and flew out through a hole, leaving only the flickering light of thunder. After flying tens of meters more, Bai Qing finally stopped, her expression bewildered. Did she just fly too fast and see things wrong? How could Xiao Tian and Zhong Yiming be in that spaceship? Unsure, she considered going back to check. But that spaceship was already falling apart. The hole she had made began to crumble. The next second, the spaceship broke into two halves. With golden electric light flickering constantly, Xiao Tian grabbed Bai Qing, quickly moved away from there. And in the next second, the spaceship that had been split in two hadn't even hit the ground yet. It exploded violently in midair, turning into a huge ball of fire. Xiao Tian was holding a green flame pig, staring blankly at his own spoils of war. My spaceship, my money, my compensation, all turned into fireworks. Both turned their heads simultaneously, facing each other. A wave of unspoken emotion spread. Finally, Bai Qing turned her head away, not daring to meet Xiao Tian's gaze. She really wanted to say this had nothing to do with her. Soon after, inside Prince's palace, two figures, one tall and one short, stood face to face. Bai Qing looked apologetic, very sorry, for some reason. Seeing this worship, this shuttle, especially seeing the Blood Room clan's insignia, she just couldn't help but act. Zhong Yongming quietly dragged the green flame pig towards the kitchen. Xiao Tian was expressionless, pausing between each word. You owe me, Bai Qing could only answer honestly. I don't have anything too valuable on me right now, and given my amnesiac state, it's difficult to compensate. So, I could repay with my service. You can order me to do things as compensation. Xiao Tian squinted at this clueless girl. Judging from the current situation, it doesn't seem like there's anything you can help with. Bai Qing thought for a moment, then clenched her fists. Next time you fight those two empresses, if they bully you, I can protect you. Xiao Tian awkwardly coughed. No, you can't get involved in that matter. What should we do then? Bai Qing sighed. You took me in, and I ended up ruining your things. Xiao Tian seemed to think of something. You said you acted impulsively when you saw the mark on that warship. That suggests they were targeting you, or rather, they were using you as an excuse to get to me. Bai Qing nodded without hesitation. Possibly. Maybe me crashing into you was predestined. At this, Xiao Tian fell into thought. Now all you need to do is recover your memory and find your home. Then you can pay me back for the spaceship. 2 birds, 1 stone. You just said? You'll do anything I ask, right? Bai Qing quickly nodded. Yes, anything you want me to do. Xiao Tian's mouth curved into a small smile. I've heard that physical activity helps stimulate the brain, and amnesia usually has some conventional solutions. Later, the two empresses came to Xiao Tian's prince palace, both thinking that they must sleep alone with Xiao tonight. However, as they approached the prince palace, Ziruo Yan and Luo Fengyuan looked shocked. Did something happen? They hastily used their power and rushed toward the palace. When they stepped in, they were stunned by the scene before them. What the hell is going on? They saw Xiao Tian comfortably lying on a recliner that had been intentionally adjusted to a certain height. In front of him, Bai Qing was suspended in midair, swinging back and forth like a pendulum. Every time she swung toward Xiao Tian, her head would collide with his, and then she would swing back. The two stood there, dumbfounded. He's sleeping so soundly through this? In that frequency? It's so consistent. Luo Fengyuan suddenly looked excited, her body trembling slightly. This is so interesting. What are they doing? Is this a special form of training? Ziruo Yan, looking at Luo Fengyuan, who seemed to have lost her senses again, yelled, Have you lost your mind? How could you find this amusing? We need to rescue them now. With that, Ziruo Yan hurriedly moved forward, extending her hand to dissipate the spiritual energy that was suspending Bai Qing, and then caught her as she fell. Xiao Tian heard the commotion and groggily opened his eyes. Seeing Ziruo Yan and Luo Fengyuan, he stretched and yawned. You're back? Luo Fengyuan quickly approached, asking with anticipation, Brother Xiao, were you guys practicing? If so, can you hang me up and do the same? Xiao Tian wordlessly stretched out his hands, squeezing both of Luo Fengyuan's cheeks toward the middle. What nonsense are you talking about? What kind of training involves hanging people up and swinging them around? Luo Fengyuan pointed at Bai Qing defiantly. Isn't that what you were just doing? After setting down Bai Qing, Ziruo Yan checked her over carefully. Finding no issues, she finally sighed in relief. Thankfully, she's fine. She then turned to Xiao Tian, slightly annoyed. You weren't actually thinking this would help her regain her memory, were you? Why not? Xiao Tian grinned confidently. I believe she must have remembered something by now. He then looked at Bai Qing with anticipation. Bai Qing touched her forehead thoughtfully, finally saying, Other than a headache, it doesn't seem like I've remembered anything. Feeling drained, Xiao Tian let out a long sigh. How is that possible? I remember hearing that a good hit on the head could restore lost memories. Listening to this, Ziruo Yan was dumbfounded. What kind of bizarre idea is that? Where did you even hear such a method? Scratching his head awkwardly, Xiao Tian explained, I heard it back in my hometown during leisure times. Speaking of his hometown, Xiao Tian's eyes suddenly lit up. Another idea flooding his mind, speaking of which, getting shocked by electricity might also work. Bai Qing, you can control lightning. Can you strike yourself? Bai Qing extended her hand to feel the power of her controlled lightning. I could give it a try. Hearing this, Xiao Tian was visibly excited. Then let's. Before he could finish his sentence, he suddenly felt a cold chill from behind. He turned around to see Ziruo Yan looking at him furiously, quickly changing his tune. Xiao Tian said, Let's quickly have dinner then. Zhong Yangming, is my pork ready? Almost there, Prince. Zhong Yangming responded. Hearing this, Xiao Tian swallowed hard. An angry wife is truly terrifying. That night, everyone sat down for a hot pot dinner. When the specially made green flame pig brain was ready, Ziruo Yen split it in two, half for Bai Qing and half for Luo Fengyuan. Annoyed, she told them both, "Eat this to nourish your brains." She then looked at Bai Qing with resignation. "It's one thing for Brother Xiao to fool around, but why are you joining in?" Bai Qing picked up the pig brain from her bowl and stuffed it into her mouth, chewing as she answered, "If there's even a slight chance, I'm willing to try." Luo Fengyuan immediately chimed in, "Exactly. You're too serious, see?" As she spoke, she tried to pour more pig brain into Bai Qing's bowl. Ziruo Yen was not pleased. The saying goes, "You are what you eat." Don't think about giving that pig brain to Bai Qing. Luo Fengyuan quickly grabbed her hand to divert the topic. "Then what should you eat to get back to normal?" Ziruo Yen clenched her fist in anger. "Say that again?" Luo Fengyuan stood up, chest out. "What do you want to do?" The two stared each other down, grinding their molars audibly. Bai Qing simply picked up the pig brain with her chopsticks, put it in her mouth, and said, "I think I've actually remembered something." Upon hearing this, all three turned to look at her. Even Xiao Tian stopped using his chopsticks. Bai Qing looked seriously at Luo Fengyuan. "You are important, Empress Luo. All hope rests on you." After a moment of stunned silence, Luo Fengyuan eagerly asked, "Is there more? What else have you remembered?" Bai Qing shook her head. "I can't remember anymore. Let me check my dragon spirit." The next second, a majestic dragon spirit rose, and although the magical patterns on it were still there, cracks had indeed begun to appear. Seeing this, Xiao Tian excitedly slapped the table and stood up. "It really works. How about we go in?" Before he could finish, a menacing look from Ziruo Yen silenced him. He could only complain inwardly. Why does Ziruo Yen never agree with my ideas? Just then, the ever-curious Luo Fengyuan suddenly spoke up. "Brother Zhao's method is so good. Why not let him try?" Seeing Xiao Tian hang his head in disappointment, Luo Fengyuan quickly shot Ziruo Yen a glance. "Tonight, Brother Xiao, sleep." Ziruo Yen extended her little hand and made an OK gesture, signaling that she understood. Immediately, the two began to argue. "I don't agree. Are you looking for trouble on purpose? So what if I am?" Xiao Tian was dumbfounded. What's gotten into these two now? The next second, they both swung their arms, and numerous jars of wine instantly appeared in the courtyard. Each picked up a jar and taunted, "Come on, who's afraid of who?" Without further ado, they both tilted their heads back and started chugging. Xiao Tian watched in awe. "My kidneys won't survive this." A sense of foreboding overcame him, prompting him to pick up a plate of stir-fried kidneys and start eating furiously. Bai Qing, who had been quietly eating her meal, was completely taken aback by the spectacle. Do they really love alcohol that much? Little did she know, what they were drinking was not alcohol, but loneliness. Unfortunately, the price was Xiao Tian's complete exhaustion. It wasn't long before the two empresses were drunk and collapsed. Xiao Tian looked at the two collapsed women with a resigned expression, thinking, "I'll have to ask Zhong Yangming to make me a very nourishing meal tomorrow," preparing to help the two empresses to their room. Bai Qing suddenly tapped Xiao Tian on the shoulder and asked, "Need help?" Xiao Tian quickly nodded in agreement. The two of them then proceeded to carry the two empresses to their room. As soon as they were placed on the bed, they naturally cuddled together. With a look of apology, Xiao Tian turned to Bai Qing, "Sorry for the trouble." Bai Qing analyzed seriously, "It's not a bother. Holding Her Majesty is much easier. Her Majesty Luo, on the other hand, is too large to manage easily. It's cumbersome to hold her, although Her Majesty is not bad. Some things are troubling when there's a comparison." What they didn't notice was that at some point, Jiroyan had clenched her fist tightly. Luo Fengyuan whispered, "Don't move. She is telling the truth. Endure it for the sake of sleeping next to Brother Xiao." Upon hearing this, Jiroyan angrily tightened her grip on Luo Fengyuan, who seemed rather excited. "Press harder. Don't hold back on me." Bai Qing, noticing the slight movement, was a bit puzzled. Did Her Majesty and Luo just move? At this moment, Xiao Tian asked, "Didn't I arrange a place for you to stay? Why haven't you left?" Bai Qing lightly touched her lips with her index finger. "I'm sorry for troubling you again, but could you knock me out like yesterday? I felt really relaxed when I woke up." Xiao Tian sighed in resignation, then took out a mattress and spread it on the ground. "Then sleep here." Bai Qing crawled into the blanket that Xiao Tian had provided. "Thank you. Good night." With a Chop of his hand, Xiao Tian knocked Bai Qing out again. As she fell back, her head hit the soft pillow and she fell into a deep sleep. Xiao Tian half crouched there, one hand supporting his knee. Gazing at her in silence, the silver-haired dragon lady in front of me gives off the impression that she herself doesn't dare to sleep. Even now, in her unconscious state, her body is tense as if by instinct. What kind of environment must she have been in before? Just as Xiao Tian was lost in thought, he suddenly noticed a black tail appearing in front of him. Brother Xiao, it's time to go to sleep. Xiao Tian chuckled softly as he looked at the two women. Sometimes the world is just like this. When you can't resist, all you can do is resign yourself to enjoying what you have. It seems there's no other choice. So, Xiao Tian resumed his plumbing work. After a night of clearing out the drains, he woke up the next day feeling refreshed. At that moment, Bai Qing slowly opened her eyes and sat up. She looked behind her and noticed the bed was gone. Xiao Tian, holding a large cup of tea, slowly walked over. Are you awake? Yes. I slept well last night. Thank you for your help. Did you guys fight again last night? And what are you drinking? It smells wonderful. Xiao Tian handed over the cup of tea to her. Did you get injured in the fight last night? Are you drinking medicinal tea to heal? Xiao Tian conjured a new bed with a wave of his hand. This is 6-flavor Romania tea that I've prepared. It's remarkably effective for restoring vitality. Bai Qing gave the tea back to Xiao Tian. You do need to replenish your strength. I can sense you've been quite weak these past days. You must have suffered some internal injuries. Do you need my help to heal? Xiao Tian was curious. You can heal? I seem to recall something about dragon saliva being good for wounds in my memories. Though, I don't think I've ever done it before. You're a good person. I can try licking your wound. Xiao Tian was instantly alarmed, spraying out the tea he was drinking. Stop. Stop. I've asked Long Qiu Dao about this. It's nonsense. Besides, my injuries can't be healed by ordinary means. Seeing Xiao Tian's refusal, Bai Qing had no choice but to relent. Then let's try the electric shock therapy you mentioned yesterday. Xiao Tian was puzzled. Why are you in such a rush? You're safe now. Take some time to rest. Bai Qing explained, I want to recover my memories as quickly as possible so that I can compensate you for any losses I've caused. Xiao Tian was silent for a long time. Is that your only reason? Bai Qing has a serious expression on her face. I've already caused you a lot of trouble here. Moreover, I've promised you, so I must act quickly. Xiao Tian suddenly smiled happily. Very well. Let's go. But besides electroshock, I've thought of an even better method. Really? That's great. Suddenly, Luo Fengyuan's voice called out, Xiao brother, hurry up and go mujam meal at Prime Minister Zhong's house. At this moment, Zhang Wushuang was standing on a flying boat, gazing at the holy demon realm. His face was filled with worry, but he could only pretend to be calm. However, his lieutenant Zhang Zhua couldn't help but ask, Boss, it's been 3 days. Zhang Yishan and the others have been gone for so long, and there's still no news. Could something have happened? Hearing this, Zhang Wushuang calmly replied, Haven't you figured out why I sent a 10th team yet? Zhang Zhua awkwardly scratched his head. Isn't it because Team 10 is the weakest? What else could it be? At these words, Zhang Wushuang turned his head away, somewhat disappointed. Can't you think more long-term like me? I've told you before. Observe and notice the talents among these younger generations. I'm very confident in Zhang Yishan. He's calm and composed, and the most suitable for gathering information. I guess. He deliberately turned off the communication array on the flying boat to avoid detection. Zhang Zhua was somewhat surprised. How did you know? Boss, I just checked. And it really is turned off. Hearing this, Zhang Wushuang felt even more confident in his judgment. That's why you should mature a bit. There are things you can learn from Team 10. Let's wait a few more days for them to reply. Maybe they'll come back and report in person. Zhang Zhua laughed awkwardly. Boss, you really are the boss. Always thinking long-term. I have so much to learn. But another 10 days have passed. Boss, there's still no contact from Zhang Yishan. Could something really have happened? Zhang Wushuang turned his head to look at him with disdain. What did I tell you before? Young people should be steady. He still has a blood crystal. What are you worried about? If something really happened, we would have seen an explosion by now. Zhang Zhua scratched his bald head. But it's been so long, and still no news. Zhang Wusheng turned back to face him. You've been with me for a long time, Zhang Zhue. From the siege of the sacred dragon to the breakout of the holy demon clan. I have to criticize you. Zhang Yishan has gone deep into enemy territory. Who knows what dangers he has faced. And you, as one of the older members of the clan, can't even give him a bit of trust. How many times have I told you to stay calm, steady, and relax? Zhang Zhue felt helpless. But it's been 10 days now. He should have at least reported something. Right. No news at all isn't good. Zhang Wusheng still dismissed his concerns. You need to learn to be calm. Don't make a fool of yourself. You should learn from Zhang Yishan. Do you know what it means when there's no news for 10 days? Zhang Zhue looked surprised. What does it mean? Zhang Wusheng waved his hand dramatically and raised his voice. It means the dangers below are more complicated than we imagined. Zhang Yishan must be cautiously laying a solid foundation for us. What we need to do now is to believe in him unreservedly, and wait patiently for his good news. Trust me, Zhang Yishan will definitely succeed. He might have already infiltrated the enemy base and is about to get the core secrets of the Holy Demon Emperor. Zhang Zhue looked at his boss's eyes full of expectation and couldn't help but think. Zhang Yishan, you're about to hit it big. Time quietly passed, and a full month later, Zhang Wusheng began to doubt. Zhang Zhue cautiously asked, Boss, you don't think this kid has defected, do you? It's been so long. Hearing this, Zhang Wusheng erupted in anger. Absolutely impossible. Zhang Zhue couldn't help but remind him, but it's been a month, boss. Zhang Wusheng felt a chill run down his spine. No, this can't be. Zhang Zhue patted Zhang Wusheng's shoulder. Boss, we're not a clan of fools. Even if Zhang Yishan is steady, he's still part of our blood wound clan. Either he's gone, or he's become someone else's lackey. There's no other reason. Upon hearing this, Zhang Wusheng finally had to accept the reality. How he wished Zhang Yishan was from a clan of fools. He had misplaced his trust. After pondering for a moment, Zhang Wusheng gave an order, you take the 2nd and 5th teams and go down to check the situation. Be cautious. Do not act recklessly. Zhang Zhue clenched his fists. Understood, boss. I'm not a greenhorn. We will complete the mission. You can count on us. Zhang Wusheng nodded slightly. Go on. I have faith in you. Moments later, 7 or 8 flying boats rushed straight into the Holy Demon Realm. At this moment, on Green Flame Mountain, 2 flying boats from the Blood Wound clan were parked with a cloaking spell. Zhang Zhue was giving orders, the 2nd team is stronger. Scout the surroundings first. Report immediately if anything unusual happens. 5th team, set up a perimeter and scan the environment. Let's see what's going on. Finishing his instructions, he gestured, pulling both flying boats into his own spatial artifact. Once this was done, he once again instructed the teams behind him, be discreet. Don't engage unless absolutely necessary. The crowd shouted in unison. Understood. Shortly after, the captain of the 5th team, Zhang Jiji, began to set up the formation, placing a special spiritual tool capable of scanning the realm's environment and providing relevant intelligence, spiritual energy detection array. Activate. As he yelled, a complex formation appeared in the air. But Zhang Jiji suddenly froze, looking at the spiritual energy forming a curtain in front of him, speaking in a surprise tone, this data, why is it like this? Hearing this, Zhang Zhue immediately came over to inquire. What's going on? Zhang Jiji pointed at the fluctuations displayed by the spiritual energy. The Holy Demon Realm is a mid-level realm, but its spatial stability is almost on par with higher realms. Its levels of spiritual energy, laws of heaven and earth, are all gradually increasing. Zhang Zhue looked puzzled. Isn't that stating the obvious? Realms will ascend unless they are in a period of decline. Zhang Jiji patiently explained, but that's based on long-term observations. The elevation of the Holy Demon Realm is visible to the naked eye. There must be something anchoring this place, making its spiritual energy increase at a rate a day, compared to a year in other mid-level realms. Hearing this, Zhang Shua's eyes sparkled with understanding. It looks like this is the secret behind the formidable strength of Holy Demon Emperor Luo Taotian. Maybe Zhang Yishan has gone off the radar to take all the credit for himself. Zhang Jiji once again manipulated the spiritual tool array. After scanning for a moment, he pinpointed a direction. The spiritual energy fluctuations over there seem to date back to a very distant era. Maybe we'll find something worthwhile there. Zhang Zhue patted him on the shoulder. Good job, young man. Let's head in that direction, find this ancient treasure, and uncover the secrets of Holy Demon Emperor. Little did they know, they were actually heading towards the palace of Prince Xiao Tian. Meanwhile, Xiao Tian, who was currently practicing standing meditation with Zhang Yangming and others, suddenly sneezed violently. Rubbing his nose with a puzzled expression, he wondered, who's thinking about me out of the blue? Never mind, it's not important. The current main task is to boost the spiritual power in the holy demon realm. Puppy, how are things going? Puppy's voice immediately responded, Master, rest assured. After you've been exercising, the realm has improved even more dramatically. According to the data, based on the current rate of progress, the livestock and crops on Green Flame Mountain will taste about 70% better next time. The taste will be more appealing. Xiao Tian immediately smiled. Well done. The improvement in the food's taste, coupled with Zhang Yangming's increasingly better culinary skills, this will be heavenly. Just then, Xiao Tian noticed Bai Qing at the courtyard entrance. Why are you back? Shouldn't you be with Luo Fengyuan today? Bai Qing scratched her head awkwardly. Well, you see, she went to see the two empresses today. Both of them offered money for her to join them in beating themselves up. Luo Fengyuan was confident, saying, all of you, come on. It's more fun for me to fight. Ziruan also looked assured. Both of you attack. It's good practice for me, considering I've hit a bottleneck in recovering my memory and still owe money to Prince Xiao. I agreed. Later on, Empress Luo was taken away by Empress Shi for official duties. So I came back early. Saying this, she looked up and inquired, are you conditioning your body again? Xiao Tian, standing on a pillar, responded, sort of. Would you like to try? Bai Qing excitedly nodded and pushed off the ground. In an instant, she flew up and landed steadily on a pillar. Xiao Tian couldn't help but exclaim, wow, you're quite talented. Bai Qing then smiled and handed over a bag of money she was holding. Here, this is for you for today. Xiao Tian stared intently at the spirit stone in her hand. I appreciate young people like you who are honest and pay their debts on time. He gave her a thumbs up as he spoke. At this, Zhongling, who was nearby, couldn't help but ask, why is another woman giving money to Prince and using the money she earned from the two empresses, no less? Lu Yen, not at all surprised, calmly sipped his tea and said, the name might be wrong, but the title is spot on. The prince is indeed the supreme, benevolent sugar baby deity. At this moment, in the imperial study of the palace, Luo Fengyuan yawned widely, bored out of her mind, as she lay on the desk in front of her, surrounded by countless petitions. She aimlessly slapped her tail against the floor. Shiroyan, on the other hand, was diligently reviewing documents. Luo Fengyuan turned her head and asked, I don't get it. How can you be so busy all the time and still manage to improve your strength so quickly? You've broken through to the 14th level in such a short time. That's really fast. Seeing that Shiroyan remained silent, Luo Fengyuan muttered to herself, is this the incredible power of the human empress bloodline? Just be a good empress. Govern the subjects well, and naturally you'll increase your strength. After a while, Shiroyan finally finished reviewing the petitions and explained, regular cultivation is indispensable. Moreover, I'm just making more rational use of the time you're wasting by complaining. She tapped Luo Fengyuan's head with a stack of papers as she spoke. Not just me, even Bai Qing, despite her amnesia, finds time to cultivate diligently. Luo Fengyuan pouted, what's the point then? However, if Brother Xiao continues to scold and reprimand me harshly, I'll definitely be motivated to cultivate. Dreamily imagining this, Luo Fengyuan looked as if she were lost in her own world. Shiroyan was speechless. Your bad habits really leave me at a loss for words. Plus, Lord Xiao has been getting gentler recently. It's going to be hard to provoke him. Luo Fengyuan, looking quite regretful, sprawled across the desk. True. But remember, Brother Xiao was really angry when he thought I was going to steal a pig. Suddenly, she slapped the table, stood up and exclaimed, I've got it. Startling Shiroyan so much that her writing went crooked. She looked at Luo Fengyuan, what are you planning now? Luo Fengyuan smiled wistfully, as if planning her next move. Nothing much. I just thought of a way to provoke Brother Xiao. I'll be back shortly. Shiroyan shouted after her retreating figure, be careful. Don't do anything reckless. Luo Fengyuan quickly departed, don't worry. I'm just going to steal a pig. Shiroyan was puzzled, steal a pig? What kind of plan is that? After leaving the palace, Luo Fengyuan headed straight for the Green Flame Mountain livestock farm, which was pretty much Xiao Tian's private property, and not for sale to the public. The Green Flame pigs were fat and healthy, spending their days eating, drinking, and sunbathing. Luo Fengyuan arrived above the farm and targeted a specific pig, thinking, if I steal Brother Zhao's most treasured 5A grade number 998 pig, he'll definitely be furious. Soon, many people witnessed the sight of Luo Fengyuan parading through the streets, pulling along Xiao Tian's favorite pig, with a bright smile on her face. She thought to herself, I wonder how Brother Xiao will punish me. He'll probably hit me really hard on the head. Just then, a peculiar wave of spiritual power, accompanied by the aura of burning flames, came roaring towards her from not too far away. Luo Fengyuan was stunned. Already, the pig was equally astonished, thinking, looks like I'm going to be roasted. With a loud crash, Luo Fengyuan was knocked back. The green flame pig set flying as well. Demonic energy surged within her, and her black, tight-fitting leather clothes were instantly covered by black armor. A huge black scythe appeared in her hand. Luo Fengyuan's aura erupted, and purple demonic flames rose up. She looked at the bald man in armor opposite her and demanded, Who are you? What are you doing here? The man was none other than Zhang Zhua, the second-team captain of the Blood Rune clan. Clenching his fist, his blood runes flamed up like wildfire. With a mighty punch aimed at Luo Fengyuan, he yelled, Never mind who I am, eat my fist first. With a clang, the man's fist collided with Luo Fengyuan's black scythe. Sparks flew in an instant, and the force from the collision rapidly separated them. Luo Fengyuan was set flying quite a distance before she finally stopped. As she landed, something suddenly occurred to her, and she shouted, Damn it! Where's my pig? If it's gone, Xiao Tian will be heartbroken. Luo Fengyuan looked around anxiously. The green flame pig was lying not far behind her, looking serene and motionless. Just then, footsteps sounded. Luo Fengyuan looked up and realized she was surrounded by a dozen bald men. Zhang Zhua, who was leading them, finally spoke. Woman of the demon clan, judging by the aura emanating from you, are you the current demon empress of the holy demon domain? Zhang Zhua's face was serious. What is your relationship with holy demon emperor Luo Taotian? As he spoke, he suddenly paused, sensing a terrifying killing intent. Luo Fengyuan's demonic flames were dancing violently, as if boiling. She glared at the men before her, her eyes filled with extreme rage. You filthy male vermin! That's my man's favorite ingredient. You disgusting lowlifes! Die! With that, Luo Fengyuan's aura erupted completely, and she charged at the Blood Rune clan members, swinging her scythe. On the other hand, Jiruoyan was initially focused on handling administrative affairs. As her pen moved, the fate of the entire dynasty seemed to flow into her like golden light. Suddenly, her hand, which was holding the pen, paused. She clearly felt a strong fluctuation of spiritual energy coming from the green flame mountain outside the palace, making such a commotion over stealing a pig. Suddenly, it seemed like she thought of something. Jiruoyan abruptly stood up, and her white armor with golden patterns instantly covered her entire body. She burst into golden light and flew out of her study, heading straight for Green Flame Mountain. It's not possible for Luo Fengyuan to cause such a ruckus just by stealing a pig. Something must have happened. Meanwhile, Luo Fengyuan, amidst the Blood Rune clan members, swung her scythe like a spinning windmill. The collision forced the numerous bald men of the Blood Rune clan to repeatedly retreat. Suddenly, Luo Fengyuan tightly gripped her scythe and shouted, Demonic flames, sky high! In an instant, an even more intense burst of purple demonic flames erupted. As she swung her arm, the burning purple flames seemed like rolling tidal waves. The many Blood Rune clan members who were maintaining their offensive stance quickly crossed their arms in front of them. In that moment, a murderous intent emerged. Those with weaker powers could not withstand it. Their armor was torn apart, and they screamed in agony. Seeing the situation go awry, Zhang Zhua quickly ordered a retreat. His veins bulged, and flames of bloody red energy burned all over him, forming a Blood Rune flame figure. As Zhang Zhua shouted angrily, the ignited spiritual energy between heaven and earth instantly transformed into a 100-meter fire giant. The giant moved in sync with Zhang Zhua, tightly clenching its fist and aiming it directly at Luo Fengyuan. Luo Fengyuan smirked, revealing a look of disdain. In the next second, she vanished before the giant's fist, only to reappear above its head. Her demonic energy exploded, and purple flames continually burned, forming a giant fiery scythe. Then, Luo Fengyuan swung the massive scythe with increasing force and speed. Suddenly, a booming sound erupted as they collided. The ground trembled slightly, and a large, deep pit formed, surrounded by burning flames. Zhang Zhua was sent flying by the recoil and landed on the ground. Zhang Jiji quickly stepped forward to steady him. Zhang Shua's face was full of shock. This member of the Holy Demon Clan was much stronger than what he had known from the intelligence. She was at least on par with him, a 16th level fighter. Suddenly, the surrounding air seemed to cool. Zhang Jiji looked around in confusion. Vice Commander, why does it feel colder? At that moment, a pair of feet gently landed on the ground. The newcomer was surrounded by an intense chill, with even ice crystals falling from her body. It was Jiroyan. She cradled Luo Fengyuan in a princess hold and said with a smirk, "Your plan sure made a lot of noise, didn't it?" Luo Fengyuan clenched her fists and accused, "These pests from who knows where, these filthy things, killed the number 998 that Xiao brother had prepared for us to enjoy for the new year." Number 998? Jiroyan was slightly taken aback. So these people are the Blood Room clan that Lord Xiao and Prime Minister Zhong mentioned? The bald members of the Blood Room clan all looked solemnly at the two women before them. Jiroyan gave a faint smile. "I was planning to track you down, but here you are, right on my doorstep. How convenient." Luo Fengyuan stepped down from Jiroyan's embrace and picked up her black scythe again. "Be careful. They are body cultivators capable of regular cultivation. They're tough to deal with." Jiroyan, however, was nonchalant. A golden power burst from her as she held a giant golden sword and said with a light smile, "Just beat them half to death and capture them." Zhang Zhuo looked at them with a face full of mockery. "Interesting. A Holy Demon Clan woman and you bring along a 14th level helper and she's human?" Before Zhang Zhuo could finish, the sky and earth shook. Above the entire great Flame Dynasty, the national fate appeared like a golden river spanning thousands of miles, turning into imperial dragon energy and pouring into Jiroyan. Zhang Jiji blurted out, "What the hell? Is this the human emperor?" Even Zhang Zhuo was stunned. Jiroyan had suddenly reached the 16th level. At the same time, the imperial will within Luo Fengyuan also burst forth. She instantly recovered from her depleted state, appearing both bewitching and powerful. Above their heads hovered a golden dragon with extreme cold and a black dragon entwined with purple flames. Astonishingly, the two dragons responded to each other and merged. A terrifying imperial pressure instantly shook the entire land. Zhang Zhuo looked at this scene, his bald head instantly soaked in cold sweat. What is going on? Weren't they supposed to be like water and fire, incompatible? How are these two putting on a show of water and fire merging right here? Where's the referee? They're cheating. Luo Fengyuan didn't pay attention to his inner shock and charged at him, dragging her black scythe. A barrage of purple holy demon flames snapped Zhang Zhuo back to reality. Zhang Zhuo quickly activated the power of the blood rune, his body swelling rapidly, his fists gathering scorching flames. But inwardly he was screaming, "Damn, I'm running out of stamina. I need to end this quickly." Luo Fengyuan pressed forward, swinging down her scythe once more, and taunted, "Your power seems to be weakening." Zhang Zhuo's face tightened as he continuously raised his arms to block her attacks, gritting his teeth in persistence. "I don't believe that before my power completely wanes, I won't find a way to break her guard. Damn this holy demon flame." But Luo Fengyuan became more and more frenzied as she fought, her swinging scythe getting faster and her expression increasingly excited. "Keep fighting, you worthless insect. Are you only good at retreating?" Zhang Zhuo was increasingly struggling to cope and finally issued orders to the surrounding Blood Rune clan members, "Surround her, let's wear her down, drain her demonic energy and stamina." The crowd quickly responded. Only then did Zhang Zhuo taunt Luo Fengyuan. "You think just because you're getting more excited, I can't do anything about you. Let's see whose demonic energy and stamina run out first." With that, Zhang Zhuo seized the opportunity to retreat sharply. At the same time, the other Blood Rune clan members all closed in. Luo Fengyuan made a strike, but Zhang Zhuo disappeared, hiding behind other Blood Rune clan members. He coldly looked at Luo Fengyuan in the middle of the crowd and shouted, "All of you, attack!" In an instant, numerous bald Blood Rune clan members charged at Luo Fengyuan, determined to cut her down. However, at this moment, Ziroan, who had been watching the battle, suddenly called out to Luo Fengyuan and blew out a cold breath. Luo Fengyuan looked at the numerous Blood Rune clan warriors turned into ice sculptures and immediately got the message. The other peripheral warriors, sensing the sudden drop in temperature, were puzzled and terrified. What's going on? Why did it suddenly get so cold? Luo Fengyuan didn't give them time to react. She extended her long legs in a spinning windmill kick, incapacitating several people immediately. Zhang Zhuo, seeing his forces nearly annihilated, roared instinctively. But Ziruan had already lifted her sword above his head. You should worry about yourself. Zhang Zhuo twisted his head in horror, but it was too late. He was severely wounded almost instantly, internally screaming impossible as his armor's protective barrier was shattered in an instant. At this point, Zhang Zhuo was flung into a boulder, which shattered upon impact. Ziruan then slowly landed in front of him, struggling to sit up. Zhang Zhuo's body trembled from exhaustion, but his eyes were filled with concern for his subordinates. Without him to hold the line, those with lower cultivation levels stood no chance against their opponents. Luo Fengyuan was excitedly massacring the enemy. Unfortunately, their numerical advantage eventually led to them surrounding her again. Ziruan quickly planned their tactics. Luo Fengyuan, use flanking attacks. Focus on attrition. Leave the other team members to me. A team member took the opportunity to help Zhang Zhuo up. Vice Commander, she has the legitimate imperial bloodline of the human race. This should be her territory. We can't win. Only then did Zhang Zhuo realize, so she has the legitimate imperial human bloodline? We must retreat. As the order was issued, the many Blood Rune clan members didn't hesitate. They all began to flee with all their might. Luo Fengyuan, who had been immersed in the excitement of combat, immediately changed her expression when she saw them run. Don't go. Stay and play. Saying this, Luo Fengyuan spread her wings, ready to chase after the two warships. Above her, Ziruan grabbed her tail. Don't chase them. Their thing is too fast. We won't catch up. Luo Fengyuan had no choice but to stop. She looked at Ziruan pitifully. What should we do next? Ziruan pondered briefly. Let's go back for now and see what the Dragon Mound Elder has to say. After Baiqing arrives, this Blood Rune clan appears. It must be related to her. Alright, let's hurry back to Great Flame Imperial City to find her. Luo Fengyuan agreed. Both transformed into two streaks of light, one gold and one purple, and disappeared on the spot. However, after they left, the two warships that had flown away slowly reappeared right where they were. It's true. The most dangerous place is the safest place, came the comment. That day, when he and his daughter Xiaoyu returned to the palace, Xiaoyu noticed the communication jade token on the table vibrating and emitting faint light. Daddy, it seems like you have a message on your communication jade, she quickly told Xiao Tian. Puzzled, Xiao Tian picked up the jade token and read the message from the mayor of Green Flame Town. Prince, pig number 998 is missing. I have failed you. Furious, Xiao Tian dashed out of the courtyard and yelled at Zhong Yangming and a few others who were about to leave. Both of you, come with me right now. Zhong Yangming and Wang Qiaodao turned their heads in surprise. But before they could ask why, Xiao Tian grabbed their clothes and flew into the sky. Before leaving, Xiao Tian didn't forget to tell Baiqing, stay here and hold down the fort. Don't run around. Guard my treasure. I'll deduct 10,000 spirit stones from your debt. Baiqing clenched her small fists and nodded. Seriously. Don't worry. I will complete the task. Seeing this, Xiao Tian burst into full speed, soaring into the sky. He felt he was losing control of his emotions. These people dare to steal my pig today. Tomorrow they'll dare to steal my people. Are my gentle and fragile Empress wives just free for the taking? Suddenly, a voice entered his ears. It seems that crazy woman from the Holy Demon clan doesn't know much about our Blood Moon clan and Luo Taotian's affairs. Ha! Xiao Tian was immediately filled with an aimless rage. It's this damned Blood Moon clan again. I have to wipe you all out to do justice to pig number 998. On the other side, Zhang Zhuo looked at the chaotic battlefield and the two empresses who had already left. Good thing I had the real warship within a formation and used another formation to project an image of the warship leaving. Zhang Zhiji walked over. Vice Commander, the formation is all set up. Zhang Zhuo nodded. Then let's begin. Immediately, a humming noise spread out, and a large formation enveloped the area, hiding the traces of the Blood Moon clan members. Zhang Zhuo then looked at his subordinate, Zhang Zhiji, based on the remnants of the battle. Can you estimate how strong those two empresses are? When we clashed, I found that the Holy Demon Empress had an imperial aura stronger than even that of Luo Taotian, the Holy Demon Emperor. Zhang Zhiji looked excited. Not only that, we've also discovered the orthodox imperial bloodline of the human race. If our calculations are correct, we'll get huge merit for this. Zhang Zhuo scratched his bald head. Unfortunately, we haven't found any trace of the Dragon Empress. I wonder if we've poked a hornet's nest. That's already 3 empresses. Very interesting. Saying this, he walked forward to look at the clansman who had died in the battle. Seeing his mood a bit low, Zhang Jiji quickly comforted, Vice Commander, we don't need to be overly sad. The Blood Moon clan will remember their glory, and after this battle, why don't we all take a good rest? This pig smells delicious. Let's eat and drink well, to regain our strength. Hearing this, Zhang Zhua looked at the pig in the pit. An alluring smell of roasted meat wafted into his nose, making him swallow involuntarily. You're right. Let's feast. On it. After pulling the pig out of the pit, Zhang Zhua sprinkled some cumin on it. Just as he was about to start carving it with knife and fork, a subordinate suddenly shouted, Vice Commander, that Empress from the Holy Demon Clan suppresses our Blood Moon clan's combat power by about 50%. The restraint strength is even up to 3 times. Moreover, the human Empress enhances the capabilities of the Holy Demon Clan's Empress. Not only do their powers perfectly match and fuse, they also boost each other. The estimated boost is up to 200%. Most surprisingly, if we add the Dragon Empress's power data into it, the result would be a 300% increase. Zhang Zhua instantly felt his scalp tingle, even dropping the knife he was holding. If they get to the battlefield, our whole Blood Moon clan will likely be annihilated. He urgently told everyone, we must find a way to capture them. Otherwise, the Blood Moon clan is in danger. Squad leader Zhang Jiji pondered, we can't beat them head-on, and we've already been exposed. They will definitely increase their defenses. A sneak attack is also out of the question. Vice Commander, why don't we go back and report to Commander? No way. Zhang Zhua interrupted him immediately. The boss told us to be cautious and prudent when we left. And now, not even a day has passed, and we've messed up this badly. Do you want to be scolded mercilessly? Suddenly, Zhang Zhua caught sight of the roasted pig numbered 998 beside him. He recalled that Luo Fengyuan had personally come to catch the pig, calling out for Brother Xiao at the time. An idea popped into his head. The weak point is in the man mentioned by that crazy demon clan woman. This holy demon clan's empress even flew here carrying a pig just for her man, and got so angry when the pig died. Clearly, she dotes on him. We just need to find and capture this pretty boy. Manipulating an inept empress like her, who cares more for beauty than her empire, will be easy. Zhang Zhua said this, with a face full of excitement. Zhang Jiji enthusiastically gave him a thumbs up. You're a genius, Commander. You've found a way out in this chaotic situation. Smiling smugly, Zhang Zhua corrected him. Be cautious. It's Vice Commander. You've also been working hard to monitor the fluctuations in spiritual energy, and gathering this intelligence. As he spoke, Zhang Zhua took the kidney from pig number 998 and handed it directly to Zhang Jiji. Grilled kidney. The best part. Here you go. Zhang Jiji flattered again. You're too modest, Commander. Whether main or vice, you're still the commander. The two exchanged knowing smiles. And Zhang Zhua then shouted to everyone, fellow clan members, once you've eaten and drunk your fill, prepare to work. This time I, Zhang Zhua, promise to lead you to great achievements. Then we can return and enjoy the good life. No more risking our lives. Just as the crowd began to cheer, the concealment formation they'd set up was suddenly ripped apart like a piece of cloth. The person who broke it was none other than Xiao Tian, who had hurriedly arrived with Zhong Yangming and Wang Qiaodao. Xiao Tian was absolutely devastated, as if a bolt from the blue had struck him. My 998 is gone. Zhang Jiji looked around. What happened? How was the formation torn apart? Zhang Zhua nervously asked. Could there have been a mistake when you set up the formation? It's impossible to avoid unexpected situations. I intentionally increased the formation strength this time, using more than twice the amount of spirit stones, Zhang Jiji replied. Hearing this, Zhang Zhua clenched his teeth with worry. Everyone, pay attention. Whoever is coming doesn't have good intentions, and they're probably not weak either. Meanwhile, in the sky, Xiao Tian sighed deeply, pointing at the Bloodroom clan and questioning the two. Do you still want to say that my concerns were unwarranted? The Bloodroom clan is clearly targeting me. They stole my pig as soon as they showed up, intentionally left traces, and even had the mayor of Green Flame Town notify me personally. It's all to lure me here. Zhong Yangming was still somewhat skeptical. Could there be a misunderstanding? After all, you have no grievances with the Bloodroom clan. Why would they target you? Xiao Tian shook his head. I don't know. There's definitely an unknown truth hidden here. But the evidence that they are targeting me is the number 998 pig. Why do you say that? Prince Xiao Tian wiped the saliva from the corner of his mouth. The green flame pig was cooked in the most perfect, most authentic way. Also my favorite cooking method, charcoal grilled whole pig. Not only do they know which pig is my favorite, but they also know my taste preferences. It shows how terrifying their intelligence system is. I have to say, it smells really good. It even seems like they use seasonings I've never heard of. No, this is not the time to eat. Xiao Tian forcefully shook his head as if to shake the tempting aroma out of his mind. Damn it. They knew I was coming and purposely used food to distract me. Tell me, if they weren't targeting me, why would they gather all this information? Why? All I want to do is good deeds every day and be a kind-hearted, carefree prince. Why is it that people are always trying to harm me? Xiao Tian looked distressed. Zhong Yongming and Wang Qiaodao were deeply moved. This Blood Rune clan is too terrifying. Their intentions are extremely malicious. Both wore angry expressions. It seems we can't let them go. Upon seeing the three people floating in the sky garden, the first thing the Blood Rune clan noticed was Wang Qiaodao in the middle. See that old man? Zhang Jue pointed out to his followers. He looks like he's from the Sacred Dragon clan. Zhang Jiji looked in the direction and confirmed, seems like it is indeed the Sacred Dragon clan. But something feels odd. He doesn't seem to have a physical body, just a form made of spiritual energy. Zhang Jue felt a weight on his mind. Are you sure? Zhang Jiji's bald head dripped. A bead of sweat. Yes, I'm sure. That's why the Sacred Dragon clan is appearing in the Holy Demon realm. It's probably a dragon spirit left over from a past era. Because the soul is powerful, it can form such a dragon spirit body. But a pure dragon spirit body isn't very powerful. It can be dealt with. As he spoke, Zhang Jiji took out a formation disc. I'll adjust the formation to seal it off, so the fight won't alert the departing Empress. It will also enhance our fighting power. However, the spirit stones will be consumed several times faster. We need to make it quick. With that, Zhang Jiji pressed his hand onto the formation disc. In an instant, the previously torn formation closed up, covering the three of them. Xiao Tian looked at them knowingly. See? Even the formation is prepped in advance. The moment they see us, they're ready to act. They practically have deal with Xiao Tian written on their foreheads. Zhong Yangming and Wang Qiaodao exchanged glances. It seems they really are targeting the prince. Let's do this. Take them down. But in the next second, Xiao Tian said something that stunned them. You guys. Use the ultimate move. The combined attack technique we've been practicing these days. Both felt stiff all over and quickly gestured to Xiao Tian. Prince, the move and the slogan need some discussion. Maybe we should slow down? No way. Xiao Tian firmly rejected the idea. There's no time to discuss. We must shout it out loud and clear to let those villains know that justice is right here, right now. Saying this, he spread his arms and yelled at the bald men below. Charge! Reluctantly, Zhong Yangming clenched his teeth. We have to make them regret this later. Wang Qiaodao also looked unwilling. Don't worry. I'll boost you as much as I can. With that, Zhong Yangming began to gather his power, still very upset inside. This is all the fault of these Blood Wound clan beasts. Otherwise, we wouldn't need to fight and the prince wouldn't ask us to use the combined attack technique. Thankfully, not many outsiders were around. Thinking this, Zhong Yangming clashed his fists together, and a burst of energy exploded from him. The next second, his clothes tore to shreds. He yelled out, combined secret technique. I will form the body. Wang Qiaodao transformed into his true form and shouted, combined secret technique. I will form the armor. Then Wang Qiaodao dove into Zhong Yangming's body. Instantly, light shone brightly and an armored giant appeared, even striking a Bruce Lee classic pose. The bald men from the Blood Wound clan were stunned. Only Xiao Tian was ecstatic. This is awesome. With these two as a combo, the title of Supreme Benevolent Sugar Baby Deity suddenly sounds so much better. Everything is relative, isn't it? Who cares about losing face? That's their problem, not mine, right? Although Zhong Yangming himself felt embarrassed, his pride wouldn't let him be the butt of jokes. He immediately unleashed his aura, preparing to attack. The expressions on the faces of the Blood Wound clan baldies changed instantly. Deputy Commander Zhang Shui quickly ordered them to disperse. As Zhong Yangming's strike came down with a roar, they dodged it. Seeing this, Zhang Shui waved his hand, attack. Zhong Yangming immediately turned to look at him. So you're the ringleader? Wang Qiaodao, merged with Zhong Yangming, felt a surge of anger as well. Shouting, "Smash him!" Faced with a fist. Clenching, teeth gritting Zhong Yangming, Zhang Shua's blood wound shone brightly as a giant made of flames began to rise. However, before the fiery giant could fully form, Zhong Yangming's foot already landed a brutal kick on its face. Accompanied by a massive boom, the fiery giant exploded, and Zhang Zhua, unable to dodge, took the kick squarely. He was sent flying into the ground like a cannonball. 2 minutes later, just as Zhang Zhua was crawling out of the pit, his face changed dramatically. He exclaimed, "Damn it!" Because what he saw was Zhong Yangming lifting both legs and then slamming down with his butt, sending Zhang Zhua back into the hole. Seeing this, other bald members of the Blood Wound clan recklessly unleashed their energy attacks on Zhong Yangming. However, Zhong Yangming casually wiped them away, ending their lives. "A bunch of pig-stealing thieves," he snarled disdainfully. "I, as the Prime Minister, am busy serving the people. Do you really think you can make a mockery of me?" With that, he raised his foot and stomped hard on Zhang Zhua. Zhang Zhua was left tearless, thinking, what bad karma did I accumulate to run into such a freak? Meanwhile, as Zhong Yangming continued to step on people, Xiao Tian was tearfully looking at pig number 998. "You really died in such a miserable way, 998. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you or let you grace the dinner table in your most perfect form. But rest assured, these people will get their comeuppance." As he spoke, Xiao Tian ripped off a pig's hoof and took a huge bite, savoring the taste. He felt as though pig number 998 was speaking to him, saying, "My deliciousness is unparalleled and belongs only to you." Xiao Tian silently looked at the pig's hoof. "Don't worry. I will fully enjoy your body. Rest in peace, my 998. Just as Zhong Yangming prepared to stomp again, Zhang Zhua suddenly leapt out of a hole, pulling out the Blood Room clan's ultimate weapon, a blood crystal. His aura changed instantly. "We are noble and never surrendering warriors of the Blood Room clan. Our fate is to die honorably in battle, not to be humiliated by your lowly human race." Backed by the Sacred Dragon clan's dragon spirit, other bald warriors landed behind Zhang Zhua, whose blood crystal was spinning in his hand, emitting an incredibly menacing aura. "Yes, we, the Blood Room clan, are warriors who should die on the battlefield, not get sat on the death." Zhang Zhua's face turned serious. "I never expected to encounter such a strong opponent in the Holy Demon Domain. No wonder Zhang Yixin has been hiding and not revealing himself." With that, Zhang Zhua suddenly grinned. "Now let the trump card of our Blood Room clan shine brightly in this middle-level domain world." Zhang Zhua looked towards the direction of the Blood Room clan's main force in the void. "Boss, you better be careful. Even if you try to stop it now, it's already too late." However, Zhong Yangming stood there with his arms crossed, quietly watching Zhang Zhua, showing no intention of taking any action, and even displaying a slight disdain. Zhang Zhua suddenly felt uneasy, thinking, could it be that they're not afraid of dying? Just then, a warrior shouted, "Look! What is that human doing?" Before Zhang Zhua could react, the blood crystal in his hand was snatched away. Xiao Tian weighed the blood crystal in his hand. "So you have one of these interesting things too. I've been missing it ever since I had one last time." Zhang Zhua was extremely anxious and was about to say something, when Xiao Tian took a big bite, a look of bliss covering his face. "This is amazing. Do you guys have more?" As he spoke, Xiao Tian began to juggle the blood crystal in the air. Zhang Zhua felt a chill down his spine. "I was going to detonate this blood crystal like a true Blood Room clan warrior, dying with honor and courage in a blaze of glory. How can this worthless human suppress the blood crystal, and even take a bite? Do you know how damaging that is to our Blood Room clan?" With a face full of resentment, Zhang Zhua thought, the blood crystal should be close to exploding by now, right? He stared intently at Xiao Tian, who didn't seem to care and just threw the remaining blood crystal into his mouth, swallowing it whole. The next second, a rumbling sound came from his stomach. Xiao Tian let out a satisfied belch. Ah, that familiar feeling. So good. Zhang Jiji felt like he had aged backwards out of sheer terror. He actually ate an entire blood crystal, and it exploded in his stomach. And he's fine? And even feels great? Is this guy even human? Then he thought, wait, did Xiao Tian say he ate another blood crystal before? Upon this realization, Zhang Jiji asked, "Did Zhang Yishan die at your hands?" Xiao Tian responded calmly, "Zhang Yishan, are you talking about that Blood Room clan guy? Don't falsely accuse me. I didn't kill him. He died due to his own moral corruption, refusing to be reformed and re-educated, and his soul collapsed. All the other Blood Room clan members committed suicide. Don't wrong a good person. The Blood Room clan warriors were all furious. This guy isn't human. He's a demon. What horrendous torture must our mentally resilient Blood Room clan warriors have suffered before dying to have their souls collapse? Afterwards, Xiao Tian and his group tied up all the members of the Blood Room clan. Long Qiu Dao looked displeased. Master Xiao is too kind to you all, merely crippling your cultivation. If it were up to me, I'd turn you all to ashes, making me lose so much face. You bunch of jerks. Zhang Zhua, the deputy commander of the Blood Room clan, signaled to his people with his eyes, "We, the warriors of the Blood Room clan, never submit." Everyone understood, looking at Xiao Tian with hatred. Meanwhile, Xiao Tian casually started roasting a pig. As the aroma intensified the stomachs of the battle-weary Blood Room clan, warriors began to rumble uncontrollably. Chomping down on the meat, Xiao Tian remarked, "This meat is so delicious, especially with this seasoning on the crispy, golden-brown skin." He even fanned the aroma toward the Blood Room clan, making their mouths water. Zhang Zhua clenched his brows, thinking, a soldier can be killed, but not humiliated. It's just roasted pig. However, his body betrayed him, as his stomach growled louder, and everyone seemed to be on the verge of losing their sanity. Xiao Tian suddenly moved closer with a bone in hand, feeling tempted. "Wanna have a lick to taste it?" Zhang Zhua, who had been somewhat disoriented, snapped back to attention, grinding his teeth in anger and wishing he could bite Xiao Tian to death. He suddenly couldn't help but shout, "Kill me! If you have the guts, kill me now!" Xiao Tian just laughed and turned to the others, saying, "See? He's losing it. He can't even withstand this minor temptation. No wonder he'd resort to stealing a pig." Shaking his head, he continued, "It seems like the moral integrity and educational upbringing of the Blood Room clan is really lacking. You call yourselves noble warriors? More like hooligans on a battlefield. I can't stand to watch this anymore. They must make amends for their mistakes. Take them to Green Flame Mountain." Zhong Yangming and Long Qiudao exchanged glances, both sighing. "You guys could have provoked anyone else, but you had to mess with Master Xiao. Now you'll know what it's like to wish for death." Soon, they arrived at the pig farm in Green Flame Town. Xiao Tian pointed at pig number 997. "Kneel and apologize." Zhang Zhua was stunned, and the others were equally flabbergasted. "You want us, the esteemed warriors of the Blood Room clan, to kneel and apologize to a pig?" Xiao Tian swiftly slapped Zhang Zhua, spinning him around in place. With a thud, Zhang Zhua reluctantly knelt before pig number 997. In an indignant tone, Xiao Tian informed him, "Number 997 is a mother. Originally, I had planned for number 998 to witness the birth of its children and proceed to the dinner table for the New Year's reunion with a heart full of happiness. But your greedy and selfish actions ruined a happy family. This is an atrocious sin. Apologize whether you want to or not." Zhang Zhua was on the verge of tears. "It's so unfair. I didn't steal the pig. This is the biggest humiliation of my life. This man, he's not human." Watching Zhang Zhua finally shed tears, Xiao Tian smiled. "Are those tears of regret? It seems you're not beyond redemption. After all this time, I've finally encountered someone who is genuinely remorseful." Just then, the mayor of Green Flame Town came running and shouting. He said to Xiao Tian, "Prince, it seems like the mood of the livestock is a bit off." Seizing the opportunity, Xiao Tian asked the mayor, "You've come just in time. Take a look. Are these the people who stole the pig?" The mayor instantly understood, pointing at the group angrily, "Yes, it's these guys." Kneeling on the side, Zhang Zhua became unhappy. "You're talking nonsense. We didn't do it. It was clearly a crazy woman from the Holy Demon clan who stole it." Zhong Yongming and Wang Qiaodao understood immediately. Who else could it be but Luo Fengyuan from the Holy Demon clan? She's the kind of person who would do such a thing. Xiao Tian ignored them, stepping forward to kick Zhang Zhua twice. "Don't speak nonsense. She's mine." Suddenly, he stopped, changing his tone. "She's a good empress who protects ordinary people like me. How could she possibly steal my pig? I just praise you, and you immediately forget yourself and start slandering good people. Ideological reform is urgently needed." Xiao Tian then looked at Wang Qiaodao, placed the mark of servitude on them, and gave control authority to the mayor. After Wang Qiaodao complied, Xiao Tian instructed the mayor, "From now on, these Blood Rune Clan criminals are yours to instruct. Any hard labor like shoveling manure or massaging the pigs, cows, and sheep of Green Flame can be given to them. After all, they have big ambitions and strong bodies. The mayor couldn't contain his smile. Prince, you're truly amazing. I just mentioned we were short-handed a few days ago, and you've resolved it all at once. The bald heads were all numb with disbelief. Our destiny as Blood Rune Clan warriors is on the battlefield, to lead brilliant lives through blood and fire, not to wallow in feces. Suddenly, the mayor remembered his original purpose. Prince, what I was trying to say was about the livestock's mood issues. Xiao Tian patted him on the shoulder, cutting him off. Don't worry, I have a plan. He then turned to Wang Qiaodao with a serious face. Put this bald guy into that yo-yo over there. Wang Qiaodao was startled. Is this really okay? He's a warrior, after all. Xiao Tian sighed, thinking that Wang Qiaodao was asking why not just kill him. It's not ideal. I'm showing too much mercy here, but given that he showed tears of remorse, I'm willing to give him a chance. Wang Qiaodao sighed and didn't say anything more. He slowly conjured a spherical formation with his hands and covered Zhang Zhuo with it. Zhang Zhuo was baffled. What's going on? Wang Qiaodao explained somewhat sympathetically, this is a toy that Prince prepared for the livestock here. Green flame pigs, green flame cows, green flame sheep, etc. Your job is to make them happy by playing with them. The green flame pigs nearby already seemed eager to start. Zhang Zhuo was dumbfounded. A toy? I'm supposed to be a toy for a bunch of livestock? He felt a mix of panic and an urge to cry. Shouldn't I at least be treated as a person? At that moment, the deputy commander of the Blood Rune Clan was confined in a sphere by Xiao Tian, ready to be used as a toy for the animals to play with. Seeing this, Zhang Zhuo's demeanor suddenly changed. The Blood Rune Clan warriors understood instantly. Deputy Commander, are you finally unable to hold back? Are you going to bring this lowly human down with you? But the next second, Zhang Zhuo suddenly knelt down, smiling brightly at Xiao Tian. Sir, regarding information, I can elaborate in detail from 10 different angles and types. Which would you like to hear first? The other warriors were instantly stunned. We didn't expect this from our deputy commander. Xiao Tian stared at him coldly. Then spill everything you know. Zhang Zhuo gave a bitter smile. Sir, my soul has been bound. There are many things I can't say, but whatever I can say, I will. Wang Qiaodao examined him and confirmed, Prince, he does indeed have a restriction placed on him. Xiao Tian relented. All right, then tell us everything you can. Turns out, the Blood Rune Clan is part of the Martial Spirit Army. From birth, they have been fighting in the Meteor Flame battlefield against humans, the Demon Clan, and the Sacred Dragon Clan. For them, the only purpose in life is to continuously invade and seize territories from other races. They were close to capturing the Meteor Flame battlefield when the Demon Clan army appeared to assist the humans. Among them, the Holy Demon Emperor Luo Taotian's demonic energy completely countered the Blood Rune Clan. His wife's illusions could even trap the Blood Rune Clan in a false world. So the reason Zhang Zhuo and the others came here was to discover the Holy Demon Emperor's powerful secret and cut off his retreat. Zhong Yangming immediately understood. Ah, that explains a lot. It also accounts for the internal conflict within the Demon Clan back then. But why would they do something like this? Is it for training soldiers? Wang Qiaodao continued to inquire. Have you ever heard of the name Bai Qing? Zhang Zhuo looked surprised. Isn't she the Dragon Empress? Before the Holy Demon Emperor came to the battlefield, she was the supreme commander of the humans, the Demon Clan, and the Sacred Dragon Clan. During our mission, we encountered someone from the Blood Grudge Clan who seemed to be tracking the Dragon Empress. However, Zhang Zhuo swallowed hard, restricted by the binding on his soul before he could say more. Xiao Tian mumbled, the title of Dragon Empress. Why does her name sound so much cooler than mine? That's really unfair. He shook his head in dissatisfaction. Zhong Yangming and Wang Qiaodao exchanged a glance, both understanding the underlying message. Another empress? Ha! No wonder. Xiao Tian sensed something was off and turned his head to look at them. What are you two looking at? Why are you giving me weird looks? It's uncomfortable. Zhong Yangming cleared his throat. If I remember correctly, Prince, you received money from Dragon Empress, didn't you? Xiao Tian wanted to argue that it was compensation, but the other two didn't want to listen. They both bowed slightly in praise. Only Xiao has the capability to have the Dragon Empress, the Holy Demon Empress, and the Human Empress all pay for his expenses at the same time. At that moment, Xiao Tian found them very annoying. The two were grinning. We're Definitely not getting back at you for the earlier embarrassment, really. Xiao Tian turned away, chanting to himself, I'm not mad. I'm not mad, but actually vented his frustration on Zhang Zhuo. He told Zhang Zhuo, originally, I was planning to rotate this tomato stuffing job between you and your people, but you admitted your mistakes so well. I've decided to bestow this heavy responsibility solely upon you. How do you feel about that? Surprised, Zhang Zhuo felt like he was about to have a mental breakdown. Why is this happening? Why? Soon the green flame pig that was originally lost and thought suddenly charged at Zhang Zhuo. Everyone watched as Zhang Zhuo kept being thrown up into the air and falling back down, and they all felt a secret satisfaction, thinking he deserved it. Zhang Zhuo cursed nonstop, Human Prince, I'll get you for this. Xiao Tian didn't care, make sure to do it with more force. I'll thank you on behalf of my adoptive father. Then, Xiao Tian instructed the village chief, keep an eye on their condition. When they completely break down and can't function, inform me. I'll send professionals to interrogate them. The village chief was confused, didn't that guy already confess? Long Qiu Dao shrugged it off. People at their level, when they have a mental breakdown, it affects their souls. They might reveal more. Zhong Yangming nodded, exactly. If what he said deviates greatly from what he was instructed to say, it means he is lying. The village chief immediately praised, Prince. You are indeed wise. At that moment, in the royal study, Luo Fengyuan was grinding her teeth in anger. Her fists were clenched tightly. Damn it, they managed to get away before I could even enjoy the fight. What cowards! Ziruoyan listened to her complaints, and couldn't help but poke her in the head. You should be thankful that they didn't have reinforcements or traps. You're actually quite lucky, instead of complaining about not having a good fight. Upon hearing this, Luo Fengyuan suddenly fell silent, tail swishing thoughtfully. Ziruoyan really wanted to reach out and grab it, but she restrained herself. Then, Ziruoyan warned again, knowing that the enemy is strong, why would you act so recklessly and be outnumbered? Couldn't you just detonate your demonic energy and let me help? Luo Fengyuan immediately refused. Those scumbags killed 998, who was Xiao Brother's favorite. All I know is I want to crush them, not run away. The plan was supposed to be perfect. How could I be so unlucky? Ziruoyan almost laughed in exasperation. Your plan was flawed to begin with. But next, we'll need to allocate some manpower to find that blood rune clan. They're a significant threat. Luo Fengyuan nodded, yes, we must find them. Just then, a guard rushed in to report, Your Majesty, the Prince and the Prime Minister are on their way to the royal study. Hearing this, Luo Fengyuan became a bit panicked. Why did Xiao Brothers suddenly come? Did he find out about 998? Ziruoyan could only comfort her. He's probably just coming to rest. You know his little habit, right? However, Luo Fengyuan was not listening and began pacing back and forth, muttering, Xiao Brother must be really angry. He will surely scold me. As she spoke, an expression of excited anticipation crossed her face. Ziruoyan was speechless. This girl is beyond help. Absolutely beyond help. Soon after, the incense in the royal study was lit. Xiao Tian reclined in the chair and gave Ziruoyan a thumbs up, so comfortable. The scent of the incense here is truly unforgettable. Luo Fengyuan curiously sniffed, is the fragrance really that amazing? Xiao Tian pointed to his head and explained, many things in the world are fascinating. Scents can carry memories. When I smell this incense, I'm always reminded of Your Majesty's diligent and benevolent governance. This is Your Majesty's scent. Saying this, Xiao Tian winked at Ziruoyan, whose face instantly turned red. She shyly turned away and mumbled, nonsense. Where would I get a scent like that? Always sweet. Talking, never serious. Upon witnessing the interaction between the two, Luo Fengyuan started to feel uneasy. No. Xiao Brother's attention should only be on me. I just need to confess about stealing the pig, and it'll be fine. Xiao Tian spoke first. Who said there's nothing serious? There actually is. That blood rune clan we spoke of earlier has reappeared in numbers. According to their confession, they had other missions. But I still think they have nefarious plans towards me. They know me too well. They stole 998, and even roasted it whole over charcoal. Absolutely infuriating. Ziruoyan turned her head in surprise. I didn't know Lord Xiao had an encounter with those who ran away. What happened? How did you meet them? Xiao Tian shook his head. Didn't the village chief say 998 was stolen? So I rushed over with Zhong Yangming and Wang Qiu Dao. Turns out, This Bloodroom clan had just roasted 998, and got caught by me. Luo Fengyuan, seeing her efforts being claimed by someone else, became anxious. That's not how it is, Xiao brother. I'm the one who stole 998. Actually, before she could finish, Xiao Tian interrupted her. You little mischief maker, trying to take credit for this to make me angry at you. That's not happening. That criminal gang is currently being reformed at the Green Flame farm. Don't try to fool me, you little rascal. Saying that, Xiao Tian gave Luo Fengyuan a head pat. Ziruo Yan was left speechless. Is there a chance that it actually was her this time? Luo Fengyuan was dumbfounded. It was really me who did it. Why? Does that Bloodroom clan have issues? They ran away and then came back to take the blame? What's the meaning of this? Luo Fengyuan started crying. My perfect plan. Just gone like that. However, Zhong Yangming then informed the two empresses. The Bloodroom clan also disclosed some information about the Holy Demon clan. We learned from them that the Holy Demon Emperor and his wives have all appeared on the Meteor Flame battlefield. Both of them were stunned for a moment. Luo Fengyuan shook her head in disbelief. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. My father and mother argued incessantly. Back in the day, fought to the death, and died together. That's when the primordial demon kingdom began to fall into chaos. Those so-called siblings of mine were incredibly cruel. 4 years ago, after I awakened, I personally pierced their bodies with the holy demon scythe. Ziruo Yan was curious and asked, so why did your father and mother argue and fight to the death in the first place? How did they die together? Luo Fengyuan became annoyed. Zibun, what's the matter with you? Can't you understand? I told you clearly. They argued and then died together. Ziruo Yan's temper flared up. You stupid cow. Listen to my question. Why did they argue and how did they die? Luo Fengyuan, confused, yelled back, why are you shouting? I already told you. They fought to the point of no reconciliation and died together. As Luo Fengyuan continued speaking, her voice became softer. Noticing the stares from the three of them, she seemed to sense something was off. She covered her mouth in astonishment. Have I been repeating this content? Why is that? It felt so real back then. Those damn parents never cared for me. And those brothers and sisters were so mean. But how did they neglect me? How did they bully me? Why can't I remember any of the details? Luo Fengyuan tried to recall, but it felt as if her brain's CPU had burned out. Xiao Tian and Ziruo Yan just stared at Luo Fengyuan's seemingly smoking head. This woman is truly bizarre, they thought. But Luo Fengyuan still didn't want to believe it. This can't be fake. I killed those hateful brothers and sisters with my own hands. Especially 18th Royal Brother. He was involved in the Southern Wilderness Realm plan. Xiao Tian and Ziruo Yan exchanged glances and spoke in unison. It's a clone. Luo Fengyuan was confused. Are these two teaming up to trick me? Ziruo Yan sighed. When you came to the Southern Wilderness Realm, didn't you leave a clone in the primordial demon kingdom? Luo Fengyuan finally caught on. Oh, that? It's a special ability of our Holy Demon Clan. Using the demonic energy of the Holy Demon Clan, the clone not only possesses combat ability, but can also deceive others. Luo Fengyuan suddenly realized. Could it be that my 18th Royal Brother also used a clone? Ziruo Yan held her hand, comforting her shocked heart. It's not confirmed yet, but since the Blood Moon clan said so, we have to go to the Meteor Flame battlefield to find out. Your 18th Royal Brother's involvement in the Southern Wilderness Realm plan might be one of the reasons. The real truth behind this can probably only be revealed when you reunite with your family, who shouldn't even be alive. Listening to this, Luo Fengyuan felt bewildered. Suddenly, she threw herself into Xiao Tian's arms, crying and saying, Brother Xiao, I'm so annoyed. I feel like my brain is breaking. Ziruo Yan coughed twice, pulling Luo Fengyuan's clothes. Wait, Lord Xiao is still recovering. He probably had a fight with the Blood Moon clan earlier. Don't tire him out. Ziruo Yan got impatient and pulled her away. Are you an idiot? Your horns are poking people. Really, you didn't pick up Bai Qing's diligence, but you certainly learned her skill of not letting go. Xiao Tian watched as his two Empress wives argued. Here they go again. But why do I feel a little happy about it? It's so nice to see them lively. Like this. 7 days after Zhang Zhua and his people were captured, Xiao Tian and his two Empress wives were enjoying a roast whole pig. Xiao Yu floated in midair, reading the information that Zhang Zhua and the others had provided over the last few days. According to their confessions, Their main plan was to capture the descendants of Holy Demon Emperor Luo Taotian and obtain their blood to use in a spatial array that would open the war gate. Xiao Yu turned to Ziruo Yen. Ziruo Yen then advised Luo Fengyuan, in that case, don't act recklessly on your own from now on. We should stay together as much as possible so that we can cover for each other in case something happens. Luo Fengyuan waved her hand impatiently. I get it. You've been going on and on. At this point, Xiao Yu suddenly remembered something. By the way, where's old Dragon Mound? Haven't seen him in a while. Xiao Tian, intently focusing on the roast pig, said. He's off handling some matters. Should be done soon. Meanwhile, in the starry sky of the universe, a battleship floated quietly. On board was the Blood Rune Clan's commander, Zhang Wuxian. Holding a transmission jade, Zhang Wuxian looked confused. It's been 7 days. Why? I'm going bald here. Why hasn't there been any response? Zhang Wuxian quickly stepped forward to comfort him. Boss, you should eat something. This special blood meal, if not consumed, can be a burden on your body. We're in a unique situation. We need to maintain our best condition. Zhang Wuxian clenched his teeth. There's something I don't get. I only asked for a simple task. A little scouting. A little probing. I didn't make an excessive request. Why has there been no movement? No matter how hard he thought, Zhang Wuxian couldn't understand it. His third team captain, Zhang Wuxian, had a bitter smile on his face. How the hell would I know? My stupid cousin from the 10th team, Zhang Yishan, has disappeared without a trace. And there's no news from Zhang Zhua, the deputy commander. Boss, keep your cool. No news means they're being careful and prudent. Zhang Wuxian interrupted him angrily, flipping the table over. Careful my ass. Prudent my ass. We are the Blood Wound Clan, the bravest and most noble warriors, not a bunch of cowards. Zhang Wuxian was so furious, he was nearly hysterical. I can give them everything but women. Why haven't they returned? Wait, women? A thought suddenly struck him. Women in the Demon Clan are incredibly beautiful and voluptuous. These dogs must have been seduced by worldly pleasures and defected. He was convinced that must be the case. Zhang Wuxian, sweating with embarrassment, suggested, Boss, is it possible that they encountered danger down there and got wiped out? Zhang Wuxian pointed at himself. I thought of that possibility too. But why was there no sign of a blood crystal explosion? Zhang Wuxian considered a possibility, his face turning serious. Boss, could it be that the blood crystal didn't explode because it was stopped? Didn't explode? Zhang Wuxian repeated. Even I would only have the option to run when facing a blood crystal. How could there be someone strong enough here to stop it? Even if they could suppress it, there should have been some sign of an impending explosion. Could it have been eaten? Looks like I'll have to go down there myself. I want to see just how well these bastards are living it up. Immediately, Zhang Wuxian ordered, prepare on your end. Notify the members of the first team to assemble. After meeting with our superior, I'll personally go to the Holy Demon Realm. Just as Zhang Wuxian nodded in agreement, both men noticed something bright. When did this fragment of the world float by? Never mind, there are many similar fragments in the void. Little did they know, this fragment was actually the handiwork of Long Qiu Dao. Lord Xiao was right. The Blood Rune Clan's battleship is indeed outside the boundary world. They've hidden themselves quite well, using the turbulence and dense fragments in the void as cover. It took me a while to find them. At night, Ziruoyan, Luo Fengyuan, and Bai Qing are having dinner. Ziruoyan looks calm, relieved that everyone can finally relax a bit after working hard for a while. Bai Qing, however, is scarfing down roast pork, thinking that wasting food is shameful. Seeing Luo Fengyuan looking worried, Ziruoyan quickly comforts him. After we get information on the Meteor Flame battlefield, you can leave your clone in the primordial demon kingdom, and go find your parents for some clarity. Luo Fengyuan replies, of course I will. This matter has been bothering me like a ticking time bomb in my head. She takes a drink and looks at Ziruoyan. You seem to miss your parents, don't you? Ziruoyan's eyes soften with reminiscence. I do miss them. Luo Fengyuan suggests, well then, why not go find them? Ziruoyan sighs, I am the Great Flame Empress. I can't just leave. The countless citizens here are my responsibility. If my parents knew the current situation of Great Flame, they would definitely support my decision. Luo Fengyuan softly huffs, stretches her arm, and pulls Ziruoyan into her embrace. I support you too. But should we hurry to the void battlefield? What if my parents die there? Zeroan quickly reassures her, what are you thinking? If your parents were so easily killed, why would the Blood Rune clan go to the great expense of sneaking into the Holy Demon realm? Tears appear in the corners of Luo Fingyuan's eyes. But now that I think about it, your parents are also in a very dangerous situation. What if before she could finish her sentence, Zeroan interrupts her by putting a flask to her lips. If you can't say anything helpful, shut up. No one said you're mute. Luo Fingyuan chokes on his drink, then shoves the flask back towards Zeroan's face. What do you know? This is called preparing for the worst. Bai Qing, watching this, moves a flask of wine over. Drink, drink, drink more? You guys drink. And I'll eat. It's perfect. Then Bai Qing pushes the dining table a little further forward. This distance should keep all the food on the table safe. The familiar scene returns. Who will win this night's battle remains to be seen. Zhong Yangming will have to prepare a nutritious soup. Again tomorrow. At the other end, Zhang Wushuang arrives at a spacious hall. He bows to the deputy general sitting on the chair. Sir. Ji Chun raises an eyebrow. Zhang Wushuang, where's your hair? Zhang Wushuang touches his bald head, struggling with how to explain. Do I just say I got so stressed I lost it? Would that be too embarrassing? Ah, never mind. It's not important. Ji Chun says it's not important, but still finds it a little distracting to look at. I heard from your subordinates that we are currently in the void above the Holy Demon realm. Zhang Wushuang nods quickly. Exactly, sir. Upon hearing this, Ji Chun laughs. What a coincidence. I have some after effects from using the blood curse technique, and wanted to recover on your warship. I also wanted to sense the whereabouts of the Dragon Empress. As it turns out, I sensed her in the Holy Demon realm. Ha ha ha. This is really effortless. Old Minister Zhong Yangming observes them both, thinking the Emperor only acts like a 20-year-old when he's bickering with Luo. Suddenly, he turns and asks Xiao Tian, young prince, what about your parents? Xiao Tian casually slurps some soup and replies, they were killed by my adoptive father. Zhong Yangming becomes slightly awkward. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Xiao Tian is only thinking this soup tastes amazing. The chef is truly skilled. Hearing the apology, Xiao Tian just smiles. It's alright. I didn't know until later. I used to think I was picked up from somewhere. Zhong Yangming feels a pang of discomfort. How can the young prince talk about such painful matters? With a smile? It looks like you've had a hard time too. What have you been through? Xiao Tian picks up his soup bowl. In the past, my so-called adoptive father raised us like hunting dogs for his assassin organization. And I was the organization's ace. So my life was slightly easier than others. Zhong Yangming is surprised. I never thought that you were a top assassin in your original realm. Xiao Tian's expression suddenly becomes serious. You're wrong. I'm the ace among aces, but not an ace assassin. What's the difference? I rank first in the strongman list, but last on the assassin list. They even say my assassination methods are unorthodox. Absolutely shameless. So, I am indeed the organization's ace, but not an ace assassin. Zhong Yangming is a bit confused. He immediately bows. May I ask, young prince, what was your assassination method like? Xiao Tian beckons Zhong Yangming closer and then asks in a low voice, let me ask you, for a successful assassination, isn't it about eliminating the target without revealing your identity, and leaving no traces? Exactly. Zhong Yangming agrees. So what if I simply eliminate everyone and destroy the place? There would be no information leak and even no traces to follow, right? Zhong Yangming swallows. Well, when you put it that way, it does make sense. Xiao Tian immediately smiles. See, you agree, don't you? When I wiped out the entire Blood Cloud Tower, you couldn't find any information, could you? Zhong Yangming feels rather uneasy but concedes. True. Can't argue with that. Just then, a thud draws both of their attention. They turn to see Zeroan and Luo Fingyuan, both drunk and leaning against each other on the ground. Xiao Tian knows it's time to act. He pats Zhong Yangming on the shoulder. Ponder what I've said and what I've done. Think about it. Both of their communication tokens suddenly receive a video call. Long Qiudao informs them that he's found the lair of the Bloodroom clan. Xiao Tian and Zhong Yangming exchange glances. Let's go check it out. Alright, young prince. Immediately after, Xiao Tian calls for his daughter Xiaoyu. He then picks up both empresses and carries them into the room. After placing them on the bed and seeing them sleep soundly, Xiao Tian smiles affectionately. You both have been working hard lately. Take a good rest. Get drunk then sleep it off. He then leans over and kisses Ziroyan and Luo Fengyuan on their foreheads. Turning back, he sees Xiaoyu covering her eyes. What's the point of covering your eyes like that? Bai Qing then assumes her usual position and says, please go ahead. Xiao Tian delivers a palm strike to the back of her neck, knocking her out. He then covers her with a blanket and instructs Xiaoyu, be a good girl and watch over her and your two moms. Daddy has to go take care of some business. Xiao Yu stands with her hands behind her back. Got it. But Dad, what are you going to do? Did you find out someone wants to harm you again? Xiao Tian lightly flicks Xiao Yu on the forehead. Adult matters. Kids shouldn't ask. Annoyed, Xiao Yu rubs her forehead. But Xiao Tian and Zhong Yangming have already slowly left. Seeing this, Xiao Yu sets up a defensive array in the room. This should keep things safe. Now I can get a good sleep too. Meanwhile, Ji Kun of the Blood Grudge clan looks pensive. From the information you've provided, it looks like the secret of the Holy Demon Emperor is really in his hometown. Xiang Wushwang scratches his bald head. Is the Holy Demon Realm really that mysterious? Absolutely. Although Bai Qing is affected by my blood curse technique, instinctually, she should have gone to the Eastern Sea Realm. Her choice to go to the Holy Demon Realm doesn't make sense. Plus, I'm not the only one tracking Bai Qing. Someone might already be there in the Holy Demon Realm, eliminating your teammates to take all the credit. Xiang Wushwang is dumbfounded. Is Bai Qing really that important? There are things you guys at this level wouldn't understand, which is normal. She grew up with that woman as her playmate. Xiang Wushwang is stunned. That woman? Yes, from the Sacred Alliance 4 years ago. Who would have thought that a 16-year-old fox demon would rise to such heights and become a woman of immense power? Bai Qing is her confidant and playmate. Capturing her would bring many advantages. Moreover, your mission to find the descendants of the Holy Demon Emperor to unlock the Wargate could also be completed. You should assist me fully in this operation. You won't be left out of the rewards. You should know how generous the rewards from the martial spirit army are. However, at this moment, Xiang Wushwang's face turns pale, and he points at Ji Chuan's head, but can't utter a word. Confused, Ji Chuan asks, why are you pointing at me? Before he could get an answer, a hand suddenly appears above his head and smashes him into the ground. Looking up in horror at the man who just appeared, Xiao Tian smiles. You were just talking about how generous the rewards are. I'm quite curious. Could you explain it to me? Faced with the sudden appearance of the three men, sweat beads on Ji Chuan's forehead. He had no idea when they appeared, and he couldn't sense their aura at all. The man leading them has an especially strong soul. Not only can he block Ji Chuan's mental invasion, but he can also disrupt his will. His power is truly terrifying. Ji Chuan barely takes a moment to think before deciding to strike first. The next second, Ji Chuan clasps his hands together, and the patterns on his body erupt. The black lotus on his forehead shines. Taking advantage of Xiao Tian's momentary distraction, Ji Chuan shouts, seal, and makes hand signs. Chains appear out of nowhere and bind Xiao Tian tightly. Having done this, Ji Chuan roars, attack! Hearing this, Zhang Wushwang instantly explodes with energy, swelling to a much larger size, resembling a bald giant. Then, he smashes his fist into the ground, causing a loud explosion. The room fills with debris and smoke. Ji Chuan and Zhang Wushwang quickly retreat, but keep their eyes fixed on where Xiao Tian is. Ji Chuan then directs both palms toward Xiao Tian, channeling his blood grudge spiritual energy in a torrent toward him. Quickly, I'll buy some time. You use the blood crystal to blow them up. With a ripping sound, Zhang Wushwang unhesitatingly rips open his chest and takes out a blood crystal nurtured in his heart. As the blood crystal emerges, the blood stains on it evaporate, leaving it crystal clear and immaculately pure. Zhang Wushwang raises it high and roars, kinsman, fight for honor. With that, he throws the blood crystal into the thick smoke toward Xiao Tian's location. Seeing this, Ji Chuan urgently signals everyone, enough. Let's go. Zhang Wushwang then takes out an array disc and places it on the ground to activate the array. Their figures start to become blurry as they prepare to teleport away. Ji Chuan grits his teeth, a cruel smile on his face. Human trash, face the explosion of the blood crystal. We look forward to your counterattacks. Ha 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 ha! After throwing the blood crystal, capable of destroying an entire world, Zhang Wushuang immediately uses the array disk to teleport the entire warship to a small separate world. Ji Chuan looks around this lush, green small world. The spiritual energy here is very scarce, and the strongest beasts are only at the 4th tier. Zhang Wushuang looks at the array disk with a sad expression, saying that the emergency void transfer could only be used once, and it consumes so many blood crystals, equivalent to 500 million top-grade spirit stones. Ji Chuan turns to comfort him, saying not to worry. When they get back to the ship,